What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
This is ESPN 1025 The Game. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 1063.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
We're live at Titans training camp today. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin, who is in the house today, as he will be all week, because D-Mase is being the world traveler, Willy's being the world traveler, and so we're here. We're at football practice.
This is, I've not been out here in a little while, so it's good to be back. They've done a lot of work out here with construction-wise, so this is great, man. You always love to hear the whistle and everything going on. So, Chase, thanks for having me out here, buddy.
Hey, it's good to have you. So we were talking about this earlier. 2019 was probably the last time you were out here?
Yeah, I covered everyone since '97, since we were at TSU, in different roles in my career. And then 2019 was when last time I was out here. And then, of course, the COVID year of 2020. Then last year, what went on. And so that's going to be back out here again. There's been some really good changes. This looks nice out here now.
Yeah. Oh, they've made it, as Derek put it, they made it look like an NFL facility. So I think they've done a really nice job.
That one in Bellevue was pretty nice. That was good because you could go to practice and then go over to Dollar Tree and get some shopping done in between the 2-a-day sessions.
You could go to Piscetti's and get some food.
You could. Yeah. That place over there was, oh, man. So to see this and see where they were when they first got here is quite remarkable. It only took them 20-something years, but yeah.
Yeah, no, they've done it. Amy Adams-Strunk's done a nice job with it. So practice is underway. We hope to be joined by Roger McCreary, Titans rookie cornerback, after practice when they're done today. They'll come over here. This is the last practice before the Bucs get to town. Then they'll have joint practices with Tampa Bay Wednesday and Thursday. No Tom Brady for Tampa Bay, as he is taking some personal leave that he worked out with the Bucs before he came out of retirement. So something going on there. He will not be here, and he'll rejoin the team after the preseason game Saturday against the Titans.
Disappointed a little bit because you can come out here and see him at Brady. You know, we talked about when he was out here 2019 with the Patriots, how he just carved up the Titans secondary that day. And we were talking to David Beauclair the other day on the show. That same time when Brady is carving up the Titans secondary, he's also after every play would bring the receiver over and coach him up. And it was just remarkable seeing him. You think, well, that's Tom Brady. But you know what? The work he put in that day, Brady did, just watching him work through practice, you understand why that guy is the best NFL quarterback of all time. I mean, it was uncanny, Chase, watching him out here, not just physically playing, but the way he did when the play was going and coaching his receivers. It was really cool. So, you know, it's, some people are disappointed to be out here. I understand that, but then this is a critical week. You know, this is 2 practices against the Buccaneers that some good work you'll get in that you would not get in otherwise if you played in a preseason game.
So they will face their former backup, Big Game Blaine Gabbert will be the
that guy's still on the team?
He is the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. That year you were talking about when they had the joint practice with the Patriots, is that when our buddy Justin Beasley got yelled at by Brady?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he got yelled. I mean, because after practice, Brady's just kind of hanging out with Vrabel in the middle of the field, and we were allowed then to go on the field, and then Brady said, "Hey, man, back up." Of course, he had to look at the ground because Justin's about 3 feet tall and had to move him out of the way. But that's what they didn't tell us any different, so it was just a big mob.
Well, Justin was right there. He was like in the huddle.
Yeah, it was.
It's the funniest.
My favorite part of that day was he played at Columbia High School with Shaq Mason. I think he's now at the Bucks. He was up here doing practice, and it was awesome. His one member of his family was handing me his mixtape. He's like, "Hey, man, here's my mixtape. I want you to listen to it after practice." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, awesome." So it was good to see Shaq Mason then, and he'll be back here Wednesday. But it was, it's a little disappointing Brady won't be up here just to watch him and see how he goes through everything during the practice.
Yeah, and because I think, as we've talked about, these next 2 weeks are going to be very beneficial for the Titans practice-wise because you're going up against another team. Preseason, the main guys are still not going to play. I don't think Tannehill's going to play. We already know that Derrick Henry's not going to play. But these practices where they're facing another defense or facing another offense, I think are going to be beneficial. And this is where you're really going to see some of these position battles. The gap is going to close.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got Wednesday, Thursday, and then you'll see a little bit during the preseason game on Saturday. But then next week the Cardinals roll in here. You'll see the same thing. Watch you guys practice and get some good work done. It's just different vibe when a team comes in these practices. So much more one-on-one work as the coaches can evaluate what's going on. And I think, Chasers, we see move on next year and year after that. I think we see more joint practices. I know we got 2 this year. I think you might see 3, even more than that, because, look, you got to face these preseason games. We're not seeing much from anybody in those things. But here in the joint practice, we'll see Tannehill. I'm not sure how much.
So I made this joke to somebody the other day. I think you'll see Derrick Henry, but he's going to have the red jersey on too, and Vrabel's preference will be you can hit Tannehill, but you can't hit Henry. I honestly, that's how I have felt. They put bubble wrap on Derrick Henry and, don't touch him. There was a play the other day where somebody fell on him, and I thought they were going to get cut.
Oh, yes. Look, face it, that's the thing. All right, last year they came out against the Cardinals that first game, and they were awful. Just awful. And the thing was, it was because they didn't play in the preseason. They didn't, but look at what's going on right now in front of us. I mean, there's 11 on 11. I mean, they're together. The units are together. That was just a Cardinal team that came here on fire that first game. So don't look at it if they lose the first game because they didn't play any preseason games. That's just all hogwash, man.
Well, so to your point on that, I think it's interesting. The Colts played their starters, or some of them. Matt Ryan did start. Zach Wilson started for the Jets, and now he's got I think it's a torn MCL, so he's going to miss some time. So there's always that argument of, okay, do you want them to get the extra work in and risk injury, or do you play it super safe, which I think Vrabel is doing and a lot of coaches do, and you just don't play them at all or very, very little in the preseason,
right? And
you risk not having chemistry and all that. Because it was very clear in the first game last year against Arizona, this team was off. They weren't on the same page. They were off kilter when it came to the chemistry. They got there, but Julio Jones was never on the same page with Ryan Tannehill.
Not the whole year.
And so that ultimately led to his dismissal. But
but you look also in that game. I mean, they were Lawan was horrible. I mean, he's
coming off the ACL.
Day. Yeah, so it wasn't that the team played there was certain spots and players that played terrible that day. And then so you look at it, if they could just kind of learn from last year and go forward with that, wouldn't be that of a big deal. But we'll see what happens. All right, my man. But you'll get to good work in the next 2 weeks. And, that Giants game will be hot, September 11th, an afternoon game. So we'll see what happens there. But you're right. I mean, I'm watching Derrick Henry run sprints over there. I mean, he doesn't need to be out there right now. These guys know. But to your point, the Jets quarterback, Zach Wilson, gets injured in the game. I mean, he's out for a while. I mean, so
and people thought it could have been an ACL.
Yeah, so the Jets are like, what? So now they're reeling this week. They're at the practice. They're reeling. Got a new quarterback in there. I mean, it's not good right now because of all that. So we'll. I just think it's good. Vrabel's got an approach to it, and I think that he's learned from Bill Cowher. He learned from Belichick when he played for them, and and he's learned as a head coach, what to do, what not to do. I think last year was just one of those things where that first game where they just came out and were flat, and that had to drive him crazy too.
No doubt about that. So do you feel that with these joint practices coming up this week and next, that some of these position battles, and I'm going to say specifically right tackle, could be decided? Dylan Radins did not look very good against the Ravens. In fact, Trevor Maddich, ESPN college football analyst, who joined Stillman and Company on Friday, he had some very strong words for Dylan Radins. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, the bad North Dakota State, the Bison, they were well represented yesterday by Dylan Radins. He started the game at right tackle and basically got tossed around. I mean, on the opening series for the Titans on third down, they left Radins on an island on the right side. He had a pass rusher coming in from lined up very wide. There was no tight end out there. There was no help. And this happens often in preseason games where coaches will leave players on an island, whether it's a pass blocker or a corner on a wide receiver or a linebacker having to cover a running back in coverage. They'll leave them on an island to see what they can do. So Radin's first opportunity, he took his set on that guy all by himself on a big old island, and the pass rusher gave him a club with his inside arm and bent Radins over sideways away from the line of scrimmage. I mean, just about tossed him onto his ear. I'm surprised Radin didn't go down. That's where Corey Levin, I think it was Levin, bailed him out, right? But that wasn't good. That's one play. But there were so many other plays where Radins actually got his man blocked from the standpoint of the guy didn't get to the quarterback, but it looked incredibly crazy. Radin's arms and legs just spread every which way. He wasn't punching, he was catching. So he was the punching bag. He wasn't turning the defender into the punching bag. There was nothing to fear if you're a pass rusher when you rush Radins because he's not going to harm you.
There you go. Trevor Maddich not holding anything back.
God,
Dylan Radins.
He just described me getting out of bed every morning. Goodness. That was terrible. Boy, that was a way to look at it. I'll be honest, I didn't watch Radins that much. I'm glad Maddich did. But, look, as I said the other day, Robinson, they want Radins to clearly define himself as the right tackle. I mean, that was their number 2 pick. They want to show that, hey, we know what we're doing. This guy's in. He's plugged. He's good to go. I don't know, man. I mean, I've heard nothing but negative about him.
Yeah. I don't want to say second-round pick in his second year and use the B word yet, but it does kind of feel like that right now.
Banjo?
Banjo, bust is what I was going
right.
with. But if Nicholas Petit-Frere, who's a third-round pick rookie, beats him out, and I know a lot of people are saying that the starting right tackle might not be on the team yet, that they may pick somebody up, after cuts, which is very possible.
Right. That's a good point.
I do think that Petit-Frere is much further along in his rookie year than Radins is in his second year.
Well, Radins set out, 2020? He didn't play at all. And so, and I'm not one of these competition guys. Look who he played at North Dakota State compared to who Petit-Frere played at Ohio State, because a lot of the best players in the NFL came from small schools. So I don't get that. It's whether you can play the game or not at this high level. And they want him. I mean, they don't want this. But here's the deal. If I'm the Giants and they don't get another right tackle, right, the Titans don't, if it's Petit-Frere or Radins and they're still unsure, that first game, I load up that side, and I go right at that guy. I mean, I go right at him, and that's the weakness on the offensive line to see what happens. But, maybe Petit-Frere will get the opportunity to start this week against Tampa Bay Saturday night, and he can prove himself. Obviously they like him. He's listed at number 1 at right tackle, can define himself there as that position, and then they're set and they're good to go.
Coming up next is we're live from training camp today, presented by Parman Energy, your one-stop petroleum solution. There's something that I saw over the weekend that I like, and it wasn't by the Titans. I'll tell you what that is. Big Joe Dubin in today, Chase McCabe, live at Titans training camp, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Genesis Diamonds' most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Cromwell Media, who owns this radio station, is observing a significant milestone this month. Our founder, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 50th year as president. Joining Bud with anniversaries of their own are Max Hurst and Scott Meyer with 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and Ryan Burke in our sales department is also celebrating 1 year with us. From 1 year to 50 years, Cromwell Media is a great place to work, and you're invited to join us. Send an email to together@cromwellmedia.com and tell us about yourself. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
You'd never knowingly feed your dog sawdust, but it's one of the most common fillers found in dog food today. Even the ones labeled healthy can contain powdered cellulose, otherwise known as wood pulp.
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. Your dog needs a biologically appropriate diet. That's why I developed Nature's Blend, a freeze-dried raw food, premium cuts of meat, omega-3 rich seeds, and superfood veggies and fruit.
This is my dog Cleo. She's a 10-year-old Chihuahua. Before we started Dr. Marty's food, she was really not spunky, a lot of digestion problems, joint pain.
Nature's Blend is made in North America and is pantry safe.
Now she acts like a little puppy. She's running around.
For a limited time, save 54% off Nature's Blend and receive a free pack of premium dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/good or text GOOD to 511-511.
I guarantee it with a 100% 90-day return of your purchase price.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to one additional text. Text stop to opt out.
I love this show.
Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Oh, yes. Back here at Titans training camp. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe and Big Joe Dubin, who is in today for Derek and Willy. All right, so I want you to tell me if I'm making a big deal out of something. Or I'm not really making a big deal about it. It's just something that I notice.
Sure.
All right, so the game Thursday against Baltimore, a lot of the starters that weren't going to play just stayed back in Nashville.
Sure.
They didn't go with the team.
All right.
And I know that was Mike Vrabel's plan. That's the team's plan. That's fine. I went to a game over the weekend. I was in Denver, and I went to the Broncos-Cowboys preseason game. And because you guys know I love the Cowboys.
You do love the Cowboys.
Dak Prescott did not play. A lot of their starters did not play. Russell Wilson did not play. But you know what I saw during that game?
Ooh, hold on. Let me can I guess?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott.
Yes.
I
he was
like
on
it.
the sideline.
I had the same.
He was patrolling the sideline, a lot of times he would be next to Mike McCarthy. He'd be with the quarterbacks. He was coaching up Cooper Rush, who started the game. And again, I know that's probably not a big deal, but to me it's there. It's something to talk about. And I just think it's such a good look to see a guy that doesn't have to be there. And Russell was the same thing. Russell didn't have to be there, even though they were home.
Right.
He didn't have to be there.
Well, here's the point with that. It's a great point. It says a lot without saying nothing. You know, I would have loved to have seen Tannehill. I mean, you're the leader of the team, right? You're the quarterback. You know, and don't tell me like they don't want to pay for his hotel room. I mean, they got $50 billion. The Titans NFL, they can pay for hotel rooms, so don't give me that garbage. I would love to see. I'm with you, man. He should have been there on the sidelines. Just, you know, they made a big deal this summer about him not being a mentor and all that. I get all that stuff, right? I understand that. But it still looks good for the team and for you if you're there. I'm with you 100%. You know, coaching up Malik or talking to Logan Woodside, just the appearance that you care. I'm not saying he doesn't care. It just looks better if you're there.
Yeah, and again, I'm not picking on Tannehill because I know that Henry wasn't there. There were other guys that weren't there either. It was the plan. It was what the coaches wanted to do, and that's fine. I just think that it would have been beneficial to some of these young guys to know that the starters are there and can be coaches. I mean, I looked over and I saw a lot of the Cowboys players that were there. I mean, the whole team was there.
Yeah,
that were on the sideline, and you know, I mean, if you're a third string running back and you know that you're on the cusp of making the team or not, and Zeke Elliott is coming over to you saying, "Hey, you know, this is what I just saw on this play. Why don't you pull this way or try this?"
Yeah.
I mean, that is
totally
beneficial.
Agree. I totally agree, and it just looks good. I mean, and it makes guys want to fight for you, just to see you out there. It's just a little extra something that if you see Tannehill on the sidelines or any of the starters on the sidelines to go up there and say, you know, it'd been good to see Jeffrey Simmons, you know, coaching up some of those guys. Right, that third stringer that might not be here in 2 weeks, but it's still, man, it makes these guys like you more and want to play harder for you and fight for you. That's a great point.
Yeah. So, again, not trying to make a huge deal of it, but it's just something that I noticed over the weekend. And other teams, you know, did this too, where you look over and you see the starters playing. One thing that did come out is Treylon Burks, his debut, didn't have a catch. He did have that Malik Willis threw a long pass to him in the end zone that he didn't catch, but had a long look there. But the inconsistencies with him, and we've seen that basically, you know, going back to mini camp when obviously he couldn't finish practice. He had a nice start to training camp, looked very, very good. Now it's kind of gone back and forth a little bit. Head coach Mike Vrabel discussed Burks and being inconsistent.
Mike, even though Treylon didn't have a catch yesterday, how would you kind of assess the work?
Inconsistent. I'm really, you know, and I wish that I would have an opportunity to talk to Treylon, you know, and I don't think this is going to be anything earth-shattering, but just being able to take the progress, some of the improvements that we saw in practice and carry them over to the game. And that I don't think happened enough, you know, and so, but he was, you know, just talking to you know, Craig Aukerman and Chase, that he was out there, he was active on special teams. He wanted to block on kickoff return. He wanted to be a part of that. You know, I think there were some really positive things as far as our special teams units that we can build off. There were some guys that, you know, young guys that we said that they needed to be productive and show up. You know, Chig played with great effort. Hassan played well on special teams, you know what I mean, showed up and just improved on some of these young guys that maybe that wasn't their primary job in college, trying to take that next step. So those are all part of the evaluation process. So we'll need to see, you know, Treylon will have to come out here and have a good week and keep having a great attitude.
Mike Vrabel, head coach on Treylon Burks. All right, here's the thing. I'm glad that he looked good on special teams. Sure. I don't need the first-round pick to look good on special teams.
So did I take away he didn't talk to Burks before the game or after? Is that what I took away from that?
I took that as they just haven't had the one-on-one sit-down yet, which, you know, I thought about that. I mean, how – like you and I talk high school football all the time. I mean, how many times do you look on the field and see the head coach talking to an individual player? And, you know, I don't know that dynamic and how much
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't want to overstep your coach. You know, he's got a wide receiver coach who's probably in his ear more than Vrabel is. But I don't know. I just took that the wrong way. Like, you think by Friday at noon he was already talking to Burks and say, hey, come here for a second, man, because after all, you're the number 1 pick.
Right.
You're not talking to some undrafted free agent guy out there who's probably going to be gone in 2 weeks, but your first guy. I don't know. I mean, what do you think Vrabel's going to say? I mean, he's going to say, look, he goes, I've been in the league a long time. And I ran a lot of Hall of Famers, and Traylon Burks is a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's always going to put those guys in their place, regardless of how good they did, how bad they did.
Actually, no, Vrabel's not going to acknowledge that he ever played in the league. Anytime you bring up his playing days, he scuffs it. He's like, did I play?
He should. I'd wear every Super Bowl ring around my neck every day somehow, and I'll answer questions.
All 3 of them, like, what's that?
Exactly.
Teresa Walker asked a question. Just what's that, Teresa? Just bling hanging out.
All those. I thought you earned those. They got 3 Super Bowl rings on that. So I think it's still one of those old school things where the rookies are going to stay rookies no matter what they do. They're going to stay in their place no matter what.
To me, too, and again, I've never been on an NFL roster, never will be. But
I don't know, Chase. You got some
we'll
giddy
see.
up and go.
We'll see. But I know that every player is different. But I also feel like there's going to be that welcome to the NFL rook moment. And that's when a guy either gets it and you start seeing progress and you see that consistency come together, or they don't. And I just don't think Burks has had that moment yet. I mean, it's just training camp. I mean, he's played 1 game now, and I think you saw some good and some bad. I thought Vrabel's assessment of saying it was inconsistent was probably the way to go. This is the week I go back to facing a real defense, facing another team. This is when, in practice, where you can kind of slow things down for him.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I think you're really going to see him either take some strides or you're going to see more of what he needs to work on.
And we'll see it Wednesday and Thursday when you get to go against another NFL team. And then, look, Roger McCreary's probably sick of going against Traylon Burks. But now, and likewise Burks to McCreary. But then you got Tampa Bay coming in here, Arizona next week. So now's the time to really see what your first-round pick can do, the separation. As I said the other day, I wish the opening play in the game the other night would have been Willis drop straight back and just fling it 70 yards downfield to Burks. First play of the game. It's a preseason game, right? You
said he did that to McNabb, and that was nice.
Yeah, on a rollout, that was fine. But first play of the game, just let him go. Let Burks see what he can do. First play of the game, do that. I would have done that because they talk about, it's a preseason, and at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter the wins or losses, although at the Baltimore does because they've won like 70 straight preseason games. But I would like to see that happen, and then, there's no – it looks like Vrabel got irritated. How about there was no more when asked about, why wasn't Burks involved more and all that? We got to get him involved more. Or really? Yeah, he only had 1 target during the game. So we'll see. A week from right now, Chaser, we will know much more about Traylon Burks after 2 practices and another preseason game against the Buccaneers.
You know what I loved that Vrabel did? I absolutely love this, that he pulled Malik Willis because he wasn't throwing the ball enough.
Yeah.
I was totally fine with that because I think that he has a gift. And, I don't like doing comps, and I know people are already – they'll do some comps with him of, he kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson, or, there's some McNair. He's Malik Willis. That's who he is. But, I can remember early in McNair's playing days of Jeff Fisher and Floyd and all of them, saying, hey, you have athletic gifts. Use them, but don't rely on them.
Yeah.
You're a quarterback. And
remember, McNair sat for 2 years.
He sat for 2 years, which was fantastic.
And he got zero help from Chris Chandler. We all remember that story.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Zero help.
Chris Chandler wanted nothing to do with him.
Nope.
And then I think one of the biggest benefits is when Neil O'Donnell came in here and was his backup, and he could, this is a guy that had played in the Super Bowl. I know Junie's shaking his head at me. Junie Riddle is here with us today. He played in a Super Bowl, played at a high level. That really helped McNair. Well, that's what Willis is going to get sitting behind Ryan Tannehill and Logan Woodside. I mean, this team's going to keep 3 quarterbacks. Willis is going to, maybe they'll have some design packages for him. That's fine. But he's going to be the 3rd string.
I mean, do those things work, these design packages?
Sometimes.
I mean, they work for
I think everybody looks at the Saints and like, it worked for them.
A little bit, yeah. I can see that for Taysom Hill. Then also worked for Cordell Stewart back in the day. You know who designed those Cordell Stewart plays? Mike Mularkey.
Yes,
he was
did.
offensive coordinator for the Steelers back then that designed those plays to come in and do those different things with Cordell, not really under center.
I loved Cordell Stewart.
So, again, if we're talking a month from how about 6 weeks from right now, if we're talking Malik Willis and Woodside, that they're playing a lot, this is going to be a bad year for the Tennessee Titans.
Not going to be good at all. Coming up next, I have a few overreactions from week 1 of the preseason.
Oh, you're going to play Stillman's show from Friday?
I am. You'll hear that coming up next. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin. We are live at Titans training camp today, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Nashville.
Running down the left side with Duchene. Duchene scores! Matt Duchene with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Some people were made to follow the instructions. We were made to make our own. To always measure twice and never cut corners. Unless, of course, we've got a compound miter saw. Northern Tool and Equipment is a problem solver's paradise. There's nothing we can't find, fix, or figure out together. We're made for this. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com.
People who call QC Kinetics are pretty much fed up with joint pain.
It's to the point where it's affecting their quality of life. Maybe they can't pick up their grandchildren anymore, or golf, or play tennis, or walk with their friends.
Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, and no surgery.
The great thing about our therapies, there isn't any downtime. There's no side effects, so patients can get our treatment and continue on with their day-to-day life.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from experience. He had excruciating back pain and got relief at a QC Kinetics clinic.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I've had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. We are the go-to spot in Nashville for the best old-fashioned, a nice relaxing cigar, and lots of high-end spirits and wine. Are cigars not your thing? No problem. We have the best ventilation system in the industry that provides a fresh, clean atmosphere for you and your friends. We are here to provide you a trendy, upscale experience in the heart of downtown. Check us out at 508 Church Street. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Luxury redefined.
This September, the Chainsmokers hit Music City at the Blended Wine and Music Festival. 24 bands, 2 stages, 1 weekend, all under the Nashville skyline. Performances by the Chainsmokers, Loud Luxury, Sick Kick, Fetty Wap, Breland, and more. September 10th and 11th, the ultimate social experience drops in Music City. Enjoy a massive 100-foot wine tent, culinary village, and wellness lounge. Get tickets now at blendedfestival.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Live at Titans training camp, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Join 102.5 The Game at the 9th Annual Brentwood Battle of the Badges Blood Drive this Wednesday from noon to 2. The Red Cross is in emergent need of blood. Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. Join us, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and the Fraternal Order of Police for the 9th Annual Brentwood Battle of the Badges Blood Drive this Wednesday, going on until 6 o'clock at the Brentwood Concord Road Library. So be sure to check that out. All right, my overreactions from week 1 of the preseason in the NFL. And let me tell you that when I say overreactions, I mean that's exactly what this is. And, usually that starts at 2 o'clock, but, we'll go ahead and start some of it now. I'll start with Trey Lance in San Francisco. 4 of 5, 92 yards, and a touchdown. He looked poised. He looked like he belonged in that spot. And I think that they've made the right move going ahead and handing the keys to the car to Trey Lance in his second year.
Obviously, John Lynch knows much more than we know. The general manager out there seeing it every day. And they've talked about in practice how he looks good. And then again, that's great. They played the Packers in the preseason game. Now you've got the car keys. Let's see what you do. Don't start out 0-4.
Sure.
Let's go. But he's got to get some good work in, and but here's the deal with the 49ers. He's surrounded by some really good talent out there.
He is.
Real offensive and defense. I mean, they're really good talent out there. So it's not like he's got to do everything when he shows up and do. It's kind of like I harken back to Marino in his second year at Miami in '84. Had decent playmakers around him, so he was able to find kind of a mesh with the Clayton and Duper and those guys, and he had a monster year. So it helps when you've got all that around you, and you don't have to be the Superman. So good for Trey Lance.
Well, and he has a receiver there, Brandon Ayuk, that was a stud at Arizona State, played for Herm Edwards, and I've kind of been waiting for him to find his groove in the NFL. I think this could be the year.
Well,
that he does that.
He's also got a number 3 receiver from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Juwan Jennings, who seems to catch. It's like, they don't go to him on first down or second down, but if it's 3rd and 9, they need 11 yards, they go to Juwan Jennings, and he makes the catch. And, wow, man, what just a metamorphosis with this guy, just, from the bad thing at Tennessee to evolving to basically growing up and now becoming just one heck of a player. So, again, more weapons. So great for a quarterback.
Remember how the Packers didn't talk to Aaron Rodgers and they drafted a quarterback in the first round and that started a bunch of drama?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Love sucks. 3 picks against the 49ers. He had 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the 3 interceptions, only 13 of 24. Everything you've seen out of him since he got here, whether it's preseason or, a little bit here and there in the regular season, there's a reason that they paid Aaron Rodgers and admitted they were wrong and got over it.
Well, I just don't. You go back to that. I mean, they're trying to. It was one of the games like, we're going to show you Aaron Rodgers. We're going to draft this quarterback who's terrible. And Rodgers didn't miss a beat. Just kind of, hey, do my own thing, and I'll show up when I show up, and I'll play at another high level. But you know what, Chase? I mean, these NFL teams made some awful first-round picks when it comes to quarterbacks throughout the years, and that seems to be just another one. So thankfully, they've got Aaron Rodgers in the fold for a few more years.
Then we go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Junie Riddle lights up when I bring up the Pittsburgh Steelers because he was there. He went to the game against the Seattle Seahawks. I had them finishing last in the AFC North this year. I think I'm going to rethink that.
How dare you, Chase?
That's even with Cleveland and all their problems. I think I'm going to rethink that because, again, overreactions to the preseason week 1. I emphasize overreactions. I mean, even Mason Rudolph looked pretty good. I don't know who – I think Trubisky's going to win that battle, but,
yeah, I mean,
Kenny Pickett they're going to bring along slowly, which is fine. They should do that. But, I think Mason Rudolph is a solid backup. They're going to give Trubisky a shot. But, I mean, if you look at their numbers, they were very similar. Trubisky only went 4 of 7, 63 yards and a touchdown, but, I mean, he did his job.
Yeah, I watched that. I mean, I watched when Pickett came in the game. What I loved about it is they ran all these misdirection plays. So it's not like Pickett had to drop back 7 yards and wait for this rush to go at him. And they rolled him out several times, quick passes, get the ball of his hands good. I mean, they tailored that. He looked good. I mean, I don't know, Seattle had the second and third team. I get all that, but – Pickett came in and drove that team down the field 5 for 5, I think he was there, Virginia. Someone scored a touchdown, and they looked good. He got the 2-point conversion, too, as well on that drive. So, by the way, you say it's just odd you said something, right, that just kind of –
It's odd I said something right? Yeah, I
you said
that.
something, I'm going to say right, that you said something, but not, like, correctly. To say that it's just odd hearing, like, I got the Steelers finishing last.
I know.
That sounds weird because Tomlin's never had a losing season.
No.
I know he's had a bunch of 8 and 8s. I get that. But he's never had a losing season. So I'm not sure the last time Pittsburgh finished last in their division. I mean, I cannot recall that they finished dead last.
I'd have to look.
Because the Bengals were awful.
97?
That was Rabel's first year with the Steelers.
Oh, that's right. He was with the Steelers. So who would have been the court? Was that who's the quarterback?
Gosh, is it Bubby Brister? I don't know. 90 okay. Cordell's first year.
Yeah, I don't
Tommy
know.
Maddox?
I mean, I look at Tommy Maddox, XFL. I look at that division. Obviously, the Browns have a ton of questions because you don't know who's going to be their starting quarterback, depending on how all this goes with Deshaun Watson and how long everything takes. I had the Ravens last year finishing last, and I was right. And everybody thought it was crazy, and it was because I didn't believe in Lamar. I'm still not a huge Lamar Jackson, like, as a quarterback fan. I think he's a tremendous athlete.
He believes in you. I mean,
I don't know. Does he?
He does.
We walked out of the stadium one time. He was nice.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a very nice guy.
So you had the Bengals ahead of the Ravens last year?
Yeah, I think I had them third. I think I had Pittsburgh winning the division.
Okay.
And Big Ben's last year, but I just, that division is going to be one of the tougher ones to figure out. Like, the AFC West, I think, is the best division in the NFL, but the AFC North is going to be entertaining.
Well, don't sleep on the AFC South. It's always good with the ever underachieving Texans and Jaguars, and it's just always a two-team race between the Colts and the Titans. No, the AFC West. And those teams, don't the Titans play those teams this year?
Yes.
Yeah, they play the AFC West. They got third game of the year. Got Vegas coming in here. It's a home game, and then, of course, later on they got to play San Diego, Denver. And
San Diego doesn't have a team anymore.
All right, Los Angeles. Yeah, I hate you. Got me. Got him. God, why did I do that? I just sit there and watch the Chargers and Rams game on this weekend, too, as well. So, no, you're right. And then Justin Herbert's a great quarterback, Mahomes and everything. But I think the Titans have had Mahomes' number, except for the AFC Championship game. They've played him really well. Last year they shut him down. And, of course, they did that same back in 2019 when they came in here and played.
The third overreaction, and this is where Stillman and company comes into play, because I already know he's going to talk about this today.
Okay.
I'd be a little concerned if I was a fan of the Colts, because they did play most of their starters, including Matt Ryan, and they didn't look very good against the backups of the Bills. Again, overreacting.
Yeah.
Overreacting. 6 of 10 for Matt Ryan, 58 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, Jonathan Taylor didn't play. They had Hines. He played a little bit. Lindsey was in there a little bit. Used 3 quarterbacks, and Sam Ehlinger and Nick Foles. And I like the signing of Nick Foles as the backup. But, you know, Bills put the backups out there and held the Colts in check.
Yeah, that's. I think I'm breaking the chair here at Titans, and I just did. That's great. I think, gosh. I'm sorry.
You're going to pull a Rex Road fall in a second.
Put that on the bill to Miss Amy Adams Strunk. I just broke your chair. God, why do I do that? I mean, don't answer that. I know why I do that. Please don't. Thank you there, sir. Appreciate you. What were we talking about a second ago?
The Colts.
The Colts. Yeah, man, that's some serious overreaction. I wouldn't. I get it, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's just. You know, again, we've talked the other day about preseason. You know, 2008, the Lions went 4-0. They looked really good in preseason. They proceeded to have an 0-16 season. And funny, you bring Matt Ryan in there. They played the Falcons that year, the first game. Matt Ryan's first pass as a Falcon was a 60-yard touchdown pass against the Lions. First game.
I remember that.
First play, first game.
Wasn't Mike Smith the head coach?
He was. He sure as heck was. So, yeah, that's some good overreaction, but I'd wait and see on that. Now, if he'd gone out there and, 1 for 13, 4 interceptions, you'd be like, okay, but I don't look too much into it.
Speaking of the Falcons, now their presumed starter, Marcus Mariota, he played 2 for 2, 36 yards, also had 3 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Mariota, MVP of the league. There you go. There's an overreaction for you.
That's a huge overreaction. 2 for 2, though. That's not bad. He must have thrown to the running back because he's wanting to throw the ball down the field. Yeah, throwing the ball down.
Found
the
his
field.
first read. Let it go.
Good for him. He's back with Arthur Smith down there. I'm a big Arthur Smith fan because he was the only coach on this staff in 2019 that knew my name. So when I went and talked to him, he'd always say, "Hey, Joe, how's it going?" So I've got a soft spot for Arthur Smith just because of that. I'd love to see Arthur Smith be successful, but only if the Falcons bring back the throwback uniforms, the red helmets and the red jerseys.
I think they're doing that.
For a few games they are, yeah.
Yeah.
I
like
love
that.
those old helmets.
I do too. I love that the NFL has finally said, you know what, we should let teams have more than one helmet color because it allows the throwbacks. I mean,
yeah,
the Titans presumably are going to have the Oilers throwbacks.
When's that going to drop?
I think next year.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they were too late.
And look, I get that with their helmets because it's a different city and at a different time. And a lot of people want to take the Titans since they've been here since really 99, because 97, 98, they were still the Oilers. So they became Nashville's team in 99. So when you throw back, I get it. If they don't inside the building, then they're not fans of that because you get to put the Derek on the side of the helmet. Not Derek Mason, but the old Derek.
Yeah.
Although they probably should put Derek Mason.
But the players want to. Like, the players want to do
That's great. They did in the Hall of Fame game in 09.
Yeah.
It looked really, really good, and I love that. But I'd love to see – I mean, I like those old Oilers jerseys. I thought they were fantastic.
Well, and I want them to do the ones that are the powdered blue, the white pants with the red, white, and blue stripes, and then the white helmet with, I think it's a red, white, and blue stripe, and then the Oil Derek on the side.
Absolutely.
Like that 80s, 90s, love you blue look.
The run and shoot, man. I love. Could name every receiver on that team and all the stuff that goes back through there, and they had great running backs on that team. But anyway,
Warren Moon.
Yeah, I love that, and I'd like to see one season of teams go back to their throwbacks. You know how I feel about the Patriots uniforms. That's the best.
Well, they're bringing that back.
Helmet combination of all time, and I mean the Buccaneers, the creamsicle. I mean that thing is just fantastic.
The Bengals are doing
white helmets.
The white helmets, which I think are looking really nice.
Oh yeah.
And then I think I saw they were looking at a throwback with the Bengals written on the side of the helmet, which I know you like.
I saw that, then I thought that was like a parody account. And I got all upset because I really like that. But I'd like to see, for 1 year, just 1 year, have teams go back. Because, people would just eat that stuff up. And jersey sales would go out the roof if they did that, be buying all kind of things. That'd be so much fun.
Cowboys are going to wear the white helmet with the blue star, which I love that.
That's a great look,
such
man.
a good look. That's not what we were talking. We just kind of went down this rabbit hole of helmets, but that's what we do. Coming up next, we actually have a big announcement to make. Something that I am very, very excited about, and it involves Big Joe as well. We'll do that coming up next. We're live at Titans training camp today. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, Willy Donick here. Listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s, 15-year loans with APRs that start with a 3. You've heard me talking about this. Don't be confused sometimes with the hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have gone down recently. They're currently refinancing homeowners who are locked in at a 5 or 6% rate. So there's a lot of reasons to call Loan Pronto right now, and they are ready to help you with all of these things. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you can take advantage, whether you're buying, refinancing, or just getting cash out to pay some bills. Even if you just closed a few weeks ago, it's worth a phone call for you today. You could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto could even help keep more money in your pocket. Call now for the info. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey. Staying dry as we continue through our afternoon. Partly cloudy skies and warming a few more degrees into the mid to upper 80s for daytime highs. Sunset at 7:37 p.m. and staying dry through the overnight hours.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
Parman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Parman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Parman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com. Blue Raider fans, Fan Day is back and better than ever. Join us inside Floyd Stadium as we kick off the 2022 MTSU athletic season. Sunday, August 21st from 3 to 5. Don't miss live music from the popular band Everyday People, as well as countless family-friendly activities with inflatables, giveaways, photo booths, autograph and photo sessions with the Blue Raider football team, and free food. Stock up on your new Blue Raider gear as well. For more info on this year's Fan Day, visit BlueRaiders.com. Middle Tennessee, we are Blue United.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Old School Pizza in Brentwood. Right now, get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. Old School Pizza features New York style thin crust made fresh to order from imported Italian flour that gives a unique flavor and crunch. Check out Happy Hour every weekday afternoon from 3 to 5 for half off selected appetizers and draft beer. Have pizza the old school way at Old School Pizza in Brentwood. OldSchoolPizzaBrentwood.com.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase and Big Joe Dubin here at Titans training camp today. Junie Riddle on site with us as well, taking in Titans practice. They're on the far field, so we can't really see anything.
We can just make stuff up.
Do you think that yesterday was Mike Vrabel's birthday, and Ben Jones got him with the baby powder, nice little prank there.
Oh, yeah, I loved it.
Do you think that he was scared that you were going to try and give him a hug today, and he wanted to be down on the far field?
A lot of things. I've got a lot of good pranks if you turn 50, so it's probably wise of him to stay on the opposite field down there because he knows what happens. But, yeah, they're way over there.
Yeah, they are. All right, I'm excited about this because we do have a bit of an announcement.
Yeah.
Something that is going to debut Friday night at 6 o'clock, and it involves Big Joe Dubin. What could that be? Something that we used to do back in the day, and people have been asking. Honestly, it's one of the most asked questions I've gotten outside of when I'm going to fire Stillman since I became program director, and I'm not going to fire Stillman. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, here it is. We're going to read the Game Blitz is coming back. It's going to be 6 hours of high school football coverage every Friday night. Chaser, we did this in 2012 through 2014. I left to go to TV. You took over for a few years and did it. It's a lot. I mean, it's an all-encompassing show, and there's a lot that goes into it, and you have to be fully committed to because you want to do it correctly and professionally, and there's a lot that goes into it. I know your duties change at 102.5. So I'm back. I'm hosting it, and as I told you, in my 25 years broadcasting career, I've been fortunate and blessed, thank you, Lord, to be part of some really cool things that have gone on. But, Chaser, nothing's been more gratifying and satisfying than doing the Game Blitz for those several years. I'm excited that it's back because, look, NFL can have every day of the week. College, you have every day of the week. But just leave Friday nights to high school. Just leave it to high school. And then so Friday night with the Game Blitz, it's like the NFL Red Zone for high school football coverage in Middle Tennessee. It's brought to you by Apple Collision Center. We're ready to go Friday night, and so we got all the games. We'll have coaches coming on. We'll talk to reporters across Middle Tennessee. It's just a lot of fun, and it's fun. It's moving. It's fast-paced. And for 6 hours on Friday, let's let it be about the coaches and kids in high school. And so if you're leaving a game, turn on the radio, hear us. We'll give you scores as quickly as we can and bring in reporters from the area. So, yeah, people ask, what's it like? I'm like, it's like the Red Zone NFL.
Oh, yeah.
It's just quick, fast, fun. And it's always good to get the reaction of coaches after the game. And we've had some good moments, and we'll continue those good moments this year. So I'm excited. Thank you, and Bud and Dennis, everybody at 102.5 for letting us bring this back because it truly is, I think, fantastic sports radio.
Yes, it is, and it's where I got my start. And like I said, I took over for you, which were very big shoes to fill, by the way. But we had me too. So we had a lot of fun doing that, and then I kept getting promoted and just didn't have the resources
anymore. It takes
anymore.
Time, yeah. I mean, and you got to have a good staff around you because it's moving, it's fast, and when you get into a car and you're leaving a game and you don't get the scores and you can't make a certain game at night, and then you tune into us, we'll keep you up to date on everything that goes on. So I'm really fortunate that we're bringing it back.
Yeah. So the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz will re-debut this Friday at 6 o'clock. It's funny talking to people around our building that weren't around when we did the Game Blitz the first time. Like, oh, what a great concept. This is cool to have this for the first year. And I'm like, we've done this before.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
how many years did you do it after I left?
3.
3, okay. So we had a good 6 years of doing it. And look, you guys are hyper-local, which I love, and got to take care of your things in your backyard. I mean, you want to hear, Oakland and Lipscomb Academy and Franklin. I mean, all the schools around, even going down out west to listen to get a Henry County score or Waverly. I mean, it's all around Middle Tennessee high school football. And whether you played high school football or not, you've got some memory of Friday night in your mind. I don't care what it is, hanging out with your friends, going on a date, homecoming, playing in the game, getting your heart broke in a football game like that. So we all have these memories for high school football. And I don't care if you grew up in Nashville, Pittsburgh, San Jose, you still have some sort of connection to high school football. And so we'll do our best every Friday night to bring you the latest and greatest and have fun with it.
So Elijah Campbell, who many remember from producing this show, is going to come back on Friday nights and be the co-host with you. He's very well connected in high school football around the mid-state. Speaking of that, I sent you a picture over the weekend that what was really cool, the Broncos have a wall inside of Mile High Stadium, or Empower Field at Mile High Stadium, of all the high school football helmets from all the teams in the Denver area as they honor high school football. And then they have the jerseys of the state champions. They even had like the 8-on-8 league state champions,
nice.
Which was cool.
Yeah, that's I'd love to see something like that. I mean, that's a lot of football being played in Tennessee, a lot of great high schools, and there's a nice history. We saw, Chase, we got to talk about Jawan Jennings and Derek Barnett and Jalen Hurd and all these guys that went on to the next level.
A lot of those guys came on the show.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So the talent in high school football in Middle Tennessee is simply fantastic. And you look at these staffs. I mean, there's ex-NFL players on these staffs that are helping out coach everything. So it is a wonderful thing. And then, again, it's fun, it's fast-paced, and it'll start at 6 and at midnight, and it'll go by in a blink of an eye.
I think my favorite moment of all time on the Game Blitz, it was either year 1 or year 2. You guys were talking about certain high school running up the score and letting the third stringers score, and then the coach called in to defend his position.
It was
Ricky Bowers.
NBA, it was Bremen Academy versus Innsworth.
Yep.
And then the last play of the game, Innsworth was up big time, and they threw a pass to the third team wide receiver to score, and we were like, all right, come on, that's just too much, and everybody else weighed in, and then Ricky Bowers called the show and said, what did he say, that's a life-changing moment for the kid. They caught the pass, and nobody believed that, and then the next day that kind of went viral and took off, and it was one of those, I'd never been part of a viral moment like that before, but a lot of people weighing in about high school, at what point is it okay to run the score up? And I'm always like, when you get to college, it's okay. High school, and so the last play of the game, he threw that touchdown pass, and boy, there were some hot people around for that was going on. So that was a good moment, and then he called in, and so we welcome all the coaches to call in. And remember, we called one coach, they just lost the game, because he said, call me whatever, I'll come on the show anytime. And we called him, and he'll remain nameless. We called him. He was hot mad that night too. And
I think I remember that.
Hot mad. Hey, Brian Rector, if you're listening. Father Ryan. Love you, man. You're a great coach and a better person. And he came in. But it was great because he talked, but hey, we didn't get the job done tonight. Credit to the other team. It was just a lot of fun, man. And everywhere I go, like you're talking about, like, bring that show back. Bring that show back. So we're going to bring it back Friday night.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz will re-debut this Friday at 6 o'clock. Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell will anchor that coverage and have our Game Blitz reporters. I mean, that's the other thing. I started on that show as a producer, then moved into the host chair. Jared Stillman was an intern.
Yep.
Would go and report on games.
Did a great job.
Austin Stanley, Zach Bingham of A to Z Sports, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the proving ground for a lot of us. So looking forward to having that back in the fold starting this Friday at 6 o'clock. Coming up next, Titans practice is winding down. We hope to have Titans corner Roger McCreary join us when practice is done. I told Joe that I wasn't going to do this, but I am going to do this.
Don't cry.
Will Mike Vrabel's – I forgot my tease for a second. Will Mike Vrabel's comments on Malik Willis actually help him? We'll discuss that. Coming up next, it's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Down, Middle Tennessee. 3 ball, yes
Tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
The NFL Week 1s are out, folks, and now's the time to try FanDuel Sportsbook if you haven't already. Joe Rexford here inviting you to get in on the action early this season, because right now new FanDuel Sportsbook customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Big one locally, of course, that we're interested in is the Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor rushing title future, and I do like Derrick Henry there. Kyler and the Cardinals, 8.5 as an over-under win total. I think personally I would go under on that one. Of course, you can start building out same-game parlays too. You got to sign up using promo code Joe102. Place your first bet, and FanDuel will give you up to $1,000 back in free bets if you don't win. There's no better place to get ready for football season than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NFL. Again, download the app, FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up using promo code Joe102. Get started with your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund is used now. Water strike credit expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got any problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
ElectronicsExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
In today's economy, employers and employees should be working together to create safe, good-paying jobs with no unnecessary government overreach. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Tennesseans, this voting season, vote no on Amendment 1. Visit TennesseeWorkersAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters.
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner. I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set. Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derrick Mason. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Back here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. We're live at Titans training camp today as they are wrapping things up way over on the other field. We hope to be joined by Roger McCreary, Titans cornerback, coming up when they are done with practice. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin in today for Derrick Mason and Willy Donick.
Can't you set up the 102.5 The Game drone and see what we get over there, get a bird's eye view, or they get shot down?
I think Vrabel would immediately pull out his pistol and shoot it down. I could just see that. The legendary Mike Keith in the house as well, good to see him.
He hasn't aged.
No.
He hasn't aged in 25 years.
Nope.
I need your Botox doctor's name, if you don't mind. Okay. Thank you.
Looks the same.
He hasn't aged. It's crazy.
Yes. Yes, he does.
You okay?
Sorry, I'm trying to do too much.
Trying to look at him over there like, right, he really hasn't aged.
So one thing that I took away, and we mentioned this earlier, one thing that I took away from the preseason game that I really, really liked was Mike Vrabel and his comments on why he ultimately decided to remove Malik Willis from the game. He got the start, and I thought that was smart too. Let him go through everything that goes into starting an NFL game, all the warm-up, and just go through the process. This is the time to do that. Tannehill wasn't going to play. You knew it was going to be Willis and Logan Woodside. And so he lets Malik Willis get the start. He goes through halftime, lets him go through that, and then he comes out and starts the third, and ultimately he gets removed, and Woodside goes in. This is the explanation for Mike Vrabel and why he decided to make that change.
You brought Logan in the middle of the drive. Is that because you want to put him in kind of a scenario?
No, that's because I wanted Malik to throw the ball, and he wasn't, so I put Logan in.
That was a very quick response, quick answer, and I have no problem with it at all. I think that Malik Willis is a very gifted athlete, and you want him to be an athlete. You want him to be able to use that to his advantage. But at the same time, he's a quarterback. And I think this is where a lot of the naysayers like me with Lamar Jackson come in, and they look at Lamar Jackson and they go, well, he's a hell of an athlete. He's an MVP, but how great of a quarterback is he? And in my opinion, I think he's okay, but I don't think he's an MVP caliber quarterback. He's just an MVP caliber athlete. And Mike Vrabel, knowing this league like he knows it, knowing that he has time to let Willis develop, I think looked at that as a teaching moment to say, hey, you know what? You have your legs. You're great.
Right.
But there's a progression that you need to go through as a quarterback.
Sure.
And not just – I mean, the touchdown was great, but that was improvising. He saw the play break down.
But that's great.
He rolled out to the right.
Great.
Then he rolled back to the left and scored the touchdown.
I dig every bit about that, and you're exactly correct. Look, what I liked about it was, all right, don't let him play the second half last Thursday. Let him start the game. Let him go through all the motions and emotions of starting a game and bring the team back out there in the second half. I mean, they know Willis ain't going to play this year, right? Barring some unforeseen tragedy. Hopefully it does not happen to Ryan Tannehill. They got time to work with him and to go. I mean, Vrabel's seen enough of this and with the quarterbacks throughout the league and his playing career of what needs to be done and not need to be done. But, yeah, I mean, there's still some coaching that needs to go on. Obviously, we get all that. But, let him take this year and to soak it in. And hopefully Tannehill can lead this team to a deep run in the playoffs and everybody's happy. And you don't have to worry about that. And Willis can take that all in and take in the sights and sounds of the National Football League. And I've said last week with Woodside, Woodside, although he hasn't played in a real game, he's run the scout team in practice. He knows the speed. I mean, he's got all that down. So if Tannehill said you put Woodside in, he hands the ball off, just keep the game going. You become quarterbacks hate this word, game manager. But that's what you become, and that just don't make mistakes. Let the other guys around you make the plays. Let Henry and Robert Woods and Westbrook Akina, let them do everything, and your tight ends, and so much to go on. But it remains. But I would get a lot of work. I would get a lot of work these next two practices with the Buccaneers and Cardinals if I am Malik Willis. Let him do a lot of work. Let him make mistakes. Let him improvise. Just let him go, and then coach him up afterwards.
See, and that's the other thing with Mike Vrabel, that I do think that him being so old school and, growing up as a player and paying his dues, playing for not just Bill Belichick. Belichick gets all the credit. He played for Bill Cowher too.
Right.
And so those are two guys that you're going to learn a lot from. And I think allowing a young player to make mistakes and not protecting them so much where they don't make mistakes. I think so many times with these first-round pick quarterbacks that come in and get thrown to the wolves right away, they protect them too much and don't allow them to make mistakes. And then when they do, their confidence gets absolutely wrecked, and it affects them the rest of their career. I mean, I look at Jake Locker here, and Jake Locker sat the first year. He probably should have sat the second year. But because he was a first-round pick and making all that money, they were like, all right, it's time to make the change. And I think that as he went on, Ken Wisenhunt wrecked his confidence. He had none left, and finally he was like, you know what, I'm done.
He was done. That's the one year they had together in 2014. Look, I was here for all those Jake Locker things. That was the lockout year, and then Hasselbeck came in, Matt, and did a great job with this team. And I think they went 9-7 in 2011, if I remember correctly, or 2013 they did with Locker was here one of those years. And but you knew, Chase, that Locker was not the answer at quarterback. You just saw it was not the answer at quarterback. And is Willis going to be there? I don't know. We've got a very, very, very small sample size of one half of a preseason game. So it just let him time to soak it all in and figure it out. And hopefully Tannehill has a great year, and then, you kind of deal with it in January when the season's over with.
615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam wants to weigh in on Malik Willis. Adam, welcome in.
Hey, Chase. So, yeah, anytime I ever think, hey, like, what's the state of the franchise with the Titans, I think, well, at least Mike Munchak's not my coach, and at least Jake Locker's not my quarterback. And Bleedy Ray Wilson's a pick, and Bishop Sankey's a running back. Like, it sucked to be a Titans fan at that time because, like, the only person making highlights was Mark Mariani. I can't think about that. So, no, hey, at least Malik gives us something to talk about right now, man. What would you be talking about, if he wasn't our quarterback? Probably looking forward to the next preseason game is my guess, and who's going to start and play. So I liked what Malik did. I will say, and I was talking to Joe about this the other day, I was more critical of Traylon Burks not making plays, but somebody, and maybe you guys saw it, went back and broke down his game tape, and he was open like 10 times, and Malik just didn't get him the football. So I think Vrabel probably did a smart thing by pulling him out when he did, just to kind of check him. But Traylon Burks, I got to walk that comment back, man. He was open a lot.
All right, thanks for the call, Adam. Appreciate it. Yeah, and, Vrabel talked about that too, that he just wants to see more consistent play out of Traylon Burks. He liked what he did on special teams, and as I said earlier, that's great. I don't care. The first-round pick doesn't need to worry about special teams.
Right.
But still, I think there were some good things for sure that you saw. But this is the luxury that you have with drafting a guy in the third round, a value pick that you can let him play, you can let him make mistakes, you can let him grow from those mistakes, and then he can hold the clipboard because you don't have to rush him. It's awesome.
It's a well-paying job. Also, you look at the pre-draft. Willis was expected to be in the first round. Might have gone in the top 10. In fact, he drops him in third round. They get him. They can work with him. And, look, nothing a coach wants more is to work with a guy who's willing to be coached. What's one thing Vrabel says all the time? The one word he says brings up all the time, coachable.
Yeah.
Are you coachable? My goodness.
Play better, coach better.
Yeah. He brings up, are you coachable? Can we coach you? He brings it up so much. And you go back again, Chase. I think this is overlooked too. What's Vrabel's frame of reference for a good NFL quarterback? Who is it?
Tom Brady.
Yeah. So, so there is a higher demand in Vrabel's eyes for a quarterback in preparation than just another coach, because he spent from 01 to 08 with Brady. Those 8 years there, they won 3 Super Bowls. And so there's a lot just more to go into, and like, I'm going to yank Willis out of the game because he didn't do what I asked. There's a little method to the madness here, and I kind of dig it, All too often, as we said, the player directs the narrative. This time the head coach like, no, I'm doing this.
It's funny. My dad used to always say he'd watch Tom Brady and goes, he's going to be a great coach one day. And I would say, I don't think so. I don't think he's
totally
gonna,
agree.
I don't think he's going to touch coaching. And he asked me why. And I said, well, because think about all the great players in any sport. It doesn't even have to be football. It can be great players in any sport that go into coaching. A lot of times they're not very good because how they prepare and how they do things
there you go
is not how everybody else does it, and it pisses them off when not everybody else prepares the same way.
Beautiful. For example, Mike Singletary at the 49ers.
Yep.
He even admitted he got so mad because a Hall of Fame linebacker might be the best linebacker of all time, one of, and he's got guys who weren't preparing the same way he prepared. And Ditka, I think Ditka is the only Hall of Fame coach who is a Hall of Fame player that became a coach and led the team to the Super Bowl. He was the same way. I mean, he ripped those guys left
Dick
and right.
LeBeau is a Hall of Fame player but was an assistant coach. He wasn't a very good head coach.
Yes. Did not get to the Forrest Gregg was another one for the Bengals. When they got beat by the 49ers in 81 as a head coach, Hall of Fame player. And Munchak was 11 through 13 here. And it's just a different level of I'm just saying he was a Hall of Fame player that became a head coach.
I just think Munchak never –
and they get
I don't think he got a fair shake.
He wasn't that he was awful.
No.
He had a bad GM. They did some bad draft choices and just didn't, there's a lot that goes into a winning football team. But he the 3 years he was here, he probably saw the same thing. Like, here's how we prepare, so we practice, and it's a different game. And I think a lot of these Hall of Fame coaches, Singletary's even said that. He goes, that's a hard time grasping it. They're not working as hard as I worked, and I know what it takes to get to that level. So you're going to see. That's why with Brady, I think Brady would be a terrible head coach.
No, and he's
terrible.
He's going to be with Fox. So, I mean, he's going to do the TV thing.
Just terrible because he expects that same level of commitment.
Peyton would have been the same way.
Yep.
Now, could I see Peyton as a talent evaluator? Sure. I could see that potentially working out.
I think he wants to be president of not just a football team, but of the United States of America one day. You wait and see. You wait and see.
He's got the forehead for it, so
he'll run for it. Put Mount Rushmore on his forehead. He's so big.
You could. But yeah, I agree. So I think that's it's certainly an interesting conversation with some of these players, and Vrabel's the same way. I mean, Vrabel you can look at as being a guy that he's not a Hall of Fame player, but he was a really good player and won 3 Super Bowls, could play both sides of the ball. And I think that's one reason why he doesn't like talking about his playing career, because he doesn't want to take anything away from the current players, but at the same time they relate to him because they know that he speaks that language, and that's why he's been able to have the success that he's had.
I mean, you're a player. You can listen to him?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You come to you and say you need to do this. But that's why when he first got out here when he was 18 as a head coach, you'd see him go through these one-on-one drills with Jarrell Casey. I'm like, I hope Jarrell Casey puts him on his butt when he do these one-on-one drills, because Vrabel was out there and he was talking to punt returners. He was talking to offensive linemen. I mean, he cares about this football team and these players. And how many head coaches are going to go out there and do that? Are going to get out there and put the blocking vest on and stand and let Jeffrey Simmons drive him back 10 yards. I mean,
well, how about this yesterday? So yesterday was Vrabel's birthday, and so Jim Wyatt writes this article talking about the prank and everything, and goes, there was also another comical moment as defensive backs went through individual drills. Defensive back Shakur Brown, who collided with Vrabel after making a catch. Brown, as he turned upfield, fell to the ground after the collision and immediately said it felt like he had run into a brick wall. I mean, 50 years old, and Vrabel's still.
Vrabel's probably in there with a torn ACL and telling the guy to run, finish the drill out. Right? I told you my favorite moment. I might have said this before at training camp of all time was 2007 out here, and we all remember Kyle Vanden Bosch, right? You remember Kyle Vanden Bosch practiced the way he played. I mean, just on out, 100%. And they're in the far field, and Chris Henry busted through. And they're on the 20-yard line. He ran 70 yards. So Chris Henry stopped running the 10-yard line. So the corner of my camera lens, you see this blow. Screams. He dropped the F word and said, around here we finish the drills. You could substitute there and run and sprints back. I'm like, what a moment. You're a young player. You're seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
This veteran doesn't have to do that. I mean, that's the level of commitment that these Hall of Fame coaches want to see. And watch Vanden Bosch do that was truly an amazing. I remember Fisher was just giggling after that because you saw that and saw what Vanden Bosch did.
Good player.
Yeah.
Kyle Vanden Bosch.
He had those red contacts in, which would scare anybody around. And but that's the player that you hope when you sign guys, bring them in here, they have that same level of commitment, determination, and dedication, even when practice, when it really doesn't matter that much, but it matters to them.
Coming up next, we'll wait for Roger McCreary, but the AP Top 25 is out.
Ooh.
And Team 26 intrigues me.
Oh.
I will tell you who that is. Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Coming up next, Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin, live at Titans Training Camp, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey everybody, Willy Donick here to tell you about Trivia Night for Stars. Think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, August 24th to Boom Baz East and test your trivia skills. I'll be your trivia master. We'll have sports questions, some non-sports questions, and some great prizes. It's brought to you by Nerdy Talk, and all proceeds support Stars and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you on August 24th at Boom Baz East.
Hey football fans, Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willy Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or higher, you need to call Loan Pronto now. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you need to take advantage, whether you are buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today, and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
I'm Cindy Mae Johnson from Mountaintop Media in the beautiful Appalachian Mountains of eastern Kentucky, where flash floods have taken lives and destroyed homes. The news can never accurately convey how much help is needed. If you're willing or able to help, even a little, please donate to the East Kentucky Dream Center on Venmo or at ekdc.info. Thank you for your prayers and support.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well. Live at Titans Training Camp. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin in today for Derek and Willy. We hope to have Roger McCreary join us here in just a few minutes. But first, the AP Top 25 in college football is out. And I said that Team 26 was the one that intrigued me. Why do you think I would say that, JoJo? Who could it possibly be?
Because it's a team in our own backyard.
That's right. It's Vanderbilt. No, it is not Vanderbilt. But Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah. That's not surprising. I mean, well, I'll tell you what Heupel's done in 2 years since getting here has been fantastic. So good for them. Where's Kentucky ranked?
The Kentucky Wildcats are 20th.
Okay.
They split 3 straight SEC teams. So Arkansas at 19, then Kentucky, then Ole Miss at 21. 6 SEC teams overall in the top 25, including number 1 Alabama, number 3 Georgia, Ohio State at number 2.
Give me the top 5.
Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame.
All right, so I did this for several years. I got to be, thanks to Teresa Walker, I got to be an AP writer for 2016 and 2019. And the first 10 teams are easy. But then after that, man, it gets really difficult to select who's going to be in the top 20, top 25. So for Tennessee, dropping at 26 is really good for them. And, they're outside. Look, you got to earn your way back in. Interesting. Where's Texas on this list? Because they were not ranked the other day in the coaches poll.
Texas is not ranked. They're not in this.
They're not 18th? I thought somebody
they are 27th.
27th.
Just behind Tennessee.
Okay. All right.
So they are not. The rest of the top 10, Texas A&M at 6, Utah, Michigan, Oklahoma, Baylor rounding out the top 10. Now, look, these preseason top 25s are always, I look at these and it gets me fired up, but then at the same time, how many teams are going to fall out? You got NC State at 13, USC is at 14, Michigan State 15, Pittsburgh, who we were talking about off the air with Mike Keith, they play Tennessee. They are 17th, which I think is an overranking. So,
well, I mean, they've got a good defense, right? Is that what we've been told? So there's a lot that goes on there.
Yeah, that is, they supposedly have a good defense. So I think that's kind of led to that, them being, ranked at 17th. But we'll see. So Tennessee, 26 in the AP Top 25 poll. Let's say hello to Titans rookie cornerback Roger McCreary, who has joined us at our broadcast table. Roger, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
So how you feeling 3 weeks into training camp? You got a preseason game that has come and gone. You got the Bucks coming to town for joint practices. How's this feeling as a rookie?
I would say everything is just great. Just having this experience and everything, just to play in the league now. And now this will be my first joint practice. So it's just like actually watching it growing up, watching it now. I'm actually playing it, and it gets the Bucks too. So I'll say it's just a great feeling, and I'm just excited about it.
What's been what's been the biggest change? A year ago, you're at Auburn going through workouts, and look, we played football. 2 days were rough. What's been the biggest change for you coming here with the Titans so far in camp?
I would say the biggest change is just like the mindset. I would say having a daily routine and everything, because college, your schedule everywhere. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but now this is like your job now. So like this all you have to do and everything. So it's just having that daily routine and everything. And I feel like once you have that routine, you'll be great.
How much have you improved in 3 weeks, you think, or going back to rookie camp in May, but especially the last couple of weeks? How much have you improved, you think, as a player because of what you've been through?
I feel like I improved a lot. It's just like coming to rookie camp, that was a lot. Like, I didn't know a lot. And, as a rookie, you're going to make mistakes and everything. That was just my mindset. I know I'm making mistakes. I just got to learn and just try to improve and just be there for the teammates. And, I have leaders like KB, Kevin Byer, and he'll help me out along the way. He'll be on me if I make bad plays or if I got a question. He's the guy to go to. Just the guys on defense, just seeing how the defense is and the leadership on that side, you can tell, like, what's the standard for the defense. So I feel like just being around them guys, they help me improve every day.
Fantastic.
Roger McCreary, Titans cornerback, is with us. Yeah, you talk about leaning on guys that you can learn from. Christian Fulton, when you look at the corners, he's the elder statesman. This is year 3 for him. So what have you been able to learn out of a fellow SEC guy?
He's just a young guy. We're a young group, and just learning from him. He probably still make mistakes and everything, but he experienced a lot just in the past 3 years and stuff. So I really asked him a lot of questions and everything. Like, we come together no matter what. If I make a good play, he on me. If I make a bad play, he's still on me. But he's still learning too. So we all just trying to get better as a group. But that's the person who I look up to, like, really the most in the cornerback session.
You know Mike Vrabel in his playing career, obviously made a lot of plays on defense. What's it been like kind of getting to know him now as your head coach and what he expects?
Oh, yeah. At first, I didn't know what to expect. I just know he was a cool and funny guy. Like, he could come with the same energy. But just, like, being around him a lot now, it's just he always wants you prepared, always know the little stuff. Like, every little thing we have to know, everything part of the defense we have to know. It's just that type of stuff that make you play faster. So just being around him, he have you on your toes every time, no matter what. You got to know what's the question. You got to know. Because if you don't know, you're going to be looking bad out there. So I feel like it's great that he pushed the players like us to make us help learn the game and everything. So I feel like it's great being coached by him.
All right, Roger, we've been talking a lot about Hard Knocks and the rookies having to sing. Have you had to sing yet for the vets?
No, sir. I sung a song a little bit, but.
What'd you sing? Can you tell us?
I sung 2 songs. It was A Long Time Coming. By Sam Cooke and
nice.
And Gold Digger by Kanye West. I like to hit the high notes for them. They be off guard. But yeah, I try to do a little something.
Did they enjoy it?
Yes, sir. They enjoyed it a lot. I try to make them laugh and stuff. I think I'd be singing for real, so I'd be feeling myself a little bit.
Look what town you're in the perfect town to be a singer, Roger. I mean, you got it made here now with all that. Hey, I want to go back. I love looking at you. You went to Williamson High School, right?
Yes, sir.
Jamarcus Russell?
Yes, sir.
T. Martin?
Yes, sir.
I mean, do you remember anything about Jamarcus? I know you're a little young guy there. You remember Jamarcus around?
Oh, yes, sir. I know a lot about him. Like, he coach at the school now, and I talk to him every time when I go back and everything. But my mom grew up playing with him and stuff, so we know a lot about Jamarcus Russell. Like, he like to star in the city.
Yeah.
Is he somebody that you've gotten advice from on the league or just football in general?
No, I wouldn't say I got advice from him. I just talk to him. He'll just be like, keep your head focused because, he been through everything. But the person that I talk to the most about advice and that stuff is Antonio Coleman. He played for Williamson and Auburn, too. That's like my mentor. He played with Russell and everything. So that was great, like getting advice from him.
Well, I mean, so sorry, I mean, growing up, so in Mobile, I mean, when you did 2 days in high school, I mean, you're used to all this, aren't you? I mean, this weather, how hot it is, doesn't bother you, does it?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. But I didn't know Nashville was like this, though. I didn't know. I thought it was a little cool, but I thought I'm leaving Bama now. We up north a little bit.
Right.
It's going to be a little cool. It's not. It's the same.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
It's still the same.
Also, you might not know this. You could use this when you go back to your high school reunion, that you have a notable alumni. You're one of the notable alumni at your high school, but also the guy that invented the Super Soaker water gun.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Williamson alumni.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that. That's one thing, like, Williamson always talk about that. The guy who went to Williamson made the Super Soaker and all that.
Lonnie
Like,
Johnson's his name.
What?
Fantastic, man. That's awesome. Let me ask you this. You're going to miss a little – I know you're in the NFL now, but playing the SEC for the last couple of years, I mean, that becomes your blood and your life. You're going to keep one eye on see what's happening down at Auburn, I'm sure?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I'm going to always look back at my school, but I got to see what's our schedule looking like because I do want to go visit and everything, support the team and stuff. I just hope they do good because, SEC, that's the hardest conference.
That's right.
Everything. So,
my man.
Yeah, I'm always support the team, though.
Good for you.
Do you are you and Derek going to come up with some sort of friendly wager for the Iron Bowl, Bama
Derek,
guy and Auburn?
I mean, I talk to Derek a lot. We talk, but he'll say a little slick stuff like Auburn. What? Auburn? It just be stuff like that. So I know when the Iron Bowl comes, it's going to be worse. Like, he's going to be on my neck. I'm going to talk trash right back, though. I'm going to talk trash right back. Like, even though we playing that Bama, we still going to win. Like, we don't care.
You and Traylon talk a lot of back and forth because Arkansas guy, Auburn guy, SEC West guy?
Oh, yeah. We Arkansas. They ain't up there with us. Arkansas ain't up there with us. But, yeah, me and Trey, we talk a lot, though, because, like, during the game we play against each other, we'll talk and we'll cool and everything. So it's good that we teammates now. We just try to push each other, and that's what we always talk about.
Oh, that's great. Hey, we're going to get you a recording contract. We'll somehow, some way. You'll be the new Sam Cooke. Is that cool?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I got you.
We'll do it for you.
I love it. Roger, best of luck the rest of the way. Thanks for coming by and talking to us.
All right, thank you for having me.
Good
Appreciate
to meet you.
it.
Roger McCreary, Titans
man.
rookie cornerback and future singer, future Nashville recording artist.
Yeah.
We'll hear from Mike Vrabel. We'll hear from Titans head coach Mike Vrabel coming up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Titans training camp is underway. Talking Titans, what wide receivers make the team? Traylon Burks, the physicality. Robert Woods, route concepts and how to get open. Who starts on the offensive line?
It's a full-on right tackle battle.
What other storylines will stand out?
Malik Willis, some of the best he's looked in camp.
Titans training camp coverage is fueled by Parman Energy. Now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com and by USA Hemp Store on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. And with 35 miles of pristine, sugary white sand, it's easy to see why. So let's grab the beach bag, the beach ball, and the boogie board. Let's pack the suits, the sunscreen, and the sunglasses. Take a dip in the emerald green waters of the Gulf. And then take in a breathtaking sunset at the end of the day. So let's make a beeline to the beach. And let's shine. Plan your next getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Tennessee has always been a state of pioneers. Hardworking folks just trying to find simple ways to protect their families, which is why so many Tennesseans trust us. Need individual plans including dental and vision? Or you're a small business owner and want family coverage? No problem. Just click fbhp.com, call us, or visit one of our many offices. Farm Bureau Health Plans, protecting Tennesseans since 1947.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
Back here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin here with you at Titans training camp. Let's head to the podium and hear from Titans tight end Austin Hooper.
Practice 15 or something like that, so having spring and these practices to just keep accruing reps with the quarterback, just like every other pass catcher on our roster. The more opportunities you get, the more comfortable both sides will feel when it comes to the real deal.
Thank you.
I'm waving that and come back. Come back, Austin.
Good stuff from Austin Hooper. Thought we'd get a little bit more of that, but that's all right. Mike Vrabel coming up in just a second.
Okay. But, you hear from him a little bit. Here's the deal. If you don't take it, he says something earth-shattering. It's like, why do you take it? So I'd rather you take it and then have him say a little bit of nothing and then miss something really, really profound, which hardly ever happens, though.
Yeah, and look, I don't know what Vrabel's really going to have to say, but I'm always curious, especially going into, a joint practice against a team like Tampa Bay. Tampa's got some questions. And I mean, Brady retired and then he unretired, and I'm not really as concerned about that. But, you've got a coaching change, which, whenever that happens, I think that's important to look at. And I think Todd Bowles getting another shot at it of being a head coach. He had to coach for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go well. Now he's in a situation where he's with a team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. He's got a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got really good defense and receiver room. So, I mean, he's obviously inheriting something that's very, very good. But, at the same time, this is where you have to learn, is Todd Bowles, the guy or
here's the ball
or not?
Man.
I think we do have Mike Vrabel. Is he it? No, he's not up yet. The Twitter's delayed. You gotta wait there, JoJo.
What's he walking around? I used to get weirded out when Fisher would sit next to me when a player was talking and he'd try to make small talk. I'm like, what do you say? I mean, it's like, hey, how's it going? How's the grass coming in this year?
Let's go hear from Mike Vrabel.
Taylor. Waiting on you.
We good?
We're great. Ready to go. Yeah. You guys finished up your little one-on-one. We're ready to go. Thanks, guys. Not making an announcement. How you doing, Teresa?
Good. How are you, Mike? Did the baby powder wash out okay?
It did. Yeah, it did. Gave me a good idea what I'm going to look like when I'm old.
On a serious point, these joint practices starting Wednesday and again next week, that maybe help finalize your decisions for the right tackle spot with the competition that's going on there?
I think it's just another step in the direction to come up with a decision. I don't think that there's been any timetable. I think going against some other players is going to be really good for all of us, especially the offensive and defensive linemen. DBs covering new receivers and receivers, trying to get open against DBs. It's a great scheme that we're going against on both sides, so it's a big, great work for us.
Stuff really wasn't working there for a while, and then DBs were breaking up a ton of passes. What did you think of what the offense wasn't getting done and what the defense was getting done?
Well, those are 50-50 balls, and we've come down with some of those earlier in camp, and today the defense was able to make plays down the field on those contested catches that that we got to try to come down with. We have to go up and try to stay under control and be able to go high point that football and come down with it.
When deciding these joint practices and which team, what goes into that from your perspective? Is there something in particular you want in the matchup? Is that just kind of who you're talking to anyway, or?
Well, I think it starts with a lot of it is scheduling. I think it starts with scheduling, like, you have to be home or you have to be on the road the first week, and somebody else has to be, on the road. So then you cancel that week off and you try to figure out, okay, who needs to travel the second week when we're at home, and then, have a great relationship with those guys and worked well in the past. So, you make some calls, and some teams are available for it, some teams aren't. And then you try to come up with a working relationship. You send them a script. They try to add if hey, let's think about this, and you kind of work with them and, try to make sure everybody gets good work in.
Caleb was around the ball a lot today. Where have you seen him make strides?
Well, he's been out there every single day. And when you're out there every single day, you have a tendency, and you work hard, and you focus in the meetings. You have a tendency to improve, and I think that's what we're seeing, and that needs to translate here in this next couple practices with Tampa, and then into the game setting and keep going. So that's what happens when you can string some days together, practice days, and come out and use the techniques that we're teaching.
Finish. Julio, how much do you look forward to seeing Caleb against big stature receivers like that?
Well, just new receivers, just new receivers, and they obviously have big receivers. We have some guys that are good size as well. So it's just a different body, different play style, and I think it'll be a great challenge for us.
You brought back Kalu right before the start of camp. What about him do you like that you thought you needed again on this team right now?
Well, it's been a thin position for us. It's a guy we've had history with that we've worked with, and then he came back and was able to do some things on defense. Played a couple different positions. He's got an energy to him. He loves ball. He's out here. You can you notice when he's out. Yeah, and he's got some length, and he played physical in the first game, so he'll continue to get some opportunities there.
Any noticeable differences from his year away when he came back? Is he better in any way?
I don't think any noticeable difference. I'm not sure what he did or didn't do in New York, but he came in he's been working primarily at safety for us.
Mike, since the preseason opener, how do you feel like Malik has kind of maybe taken the coaching points and tried to apply it, like just in terms of making corrections and progressing?
I think he's very, aware of the things that we're asking him to do and looking for those opportunities to improve. And, had one of those today, and he threw it. And, I think it was a contested catch, drop that, we weren't able to come down with. But, you have to be willing to do those things in practice and push it and see it and work it in individual, and then have it translate over to team. So I think he's very conscious. We want Malik to to be as athletic and make as many plays as he possibly can. But then understand when things are there in timing and rhythm, that it's a great opportunity to take advantage of those spaces and that timing. And then whatever happens after that, if it's not there, then he has to go and be an athlete and be a playmaker.
Rob Moore was joking this morning that in some drills where his guys can get their hands on him, he thinks they take some vengeance and enjoy getting a shot at him when they can. You do a lot of that stuff with guys. You feel that?
Yeah. I'd like him to try to do that against the defender or the guy across from him more than the coach. But if that gets him going, I'm available.
Left off the last couple of days?
Yeah, I think so. I have to watch the tape from today, but I'm hoping that there's some consistency that he's continuing to build.
Did he show that before?
Yeah, that was something that add some more calls onto his plate. There were things that we had to coach up, but he's somebody that you only have to usually tell things to once.
Finishing plays, whether it's in a practice or a game, something that's learned as a rookie too?
I hope so. We have to try to finish longer than the guy with the ball on offense, and we're trying to play full tilt to the tackle on defense. I don't think it's natural for a wide receiver or a tight end that doesn't catch the football to immediately turn upfield and try to find somebody to block or somebody to high screen. I don't think that's natural. So hopefully we can try to continue to coach it.
Mike, what have you liked about Rashad as he works back from the injury from last year?
He plays extremely hard. He is relentless. That's probably the thing that I would say is his biggest redeeming quality, and that is a great quality. I mean, he keeps coming, takes 1,000,000 reps, competes, has gotten better, and but his effort certainly stands out. You know, that's the thing that when you talk about Rashad, it's, you know, he's going to go, and he's going to keep coming at you, and however many times you put him in there, you know, he'll go out there and go as hard as he can.
When it comes to pass blocking for tackles, what are, you know, maybe one or two of the things, whether it's Dylan or anybody else, that absolutely have to take place when you, aside from allowing a quarterback to be sacked?
Stay inside, block your man. I'm not going to go through a dissertation on how I want to coach offensive tackles. That's, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Stay inside out, block your man. Thanks, guys.
Go. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel at the podium. We'll hit on a few things that he had to say there, which I think he's very good at not saying a whole lot. But we will do that coming up next. It's Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase and Big Joe Dubin today live on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
They're still in good shape to make the playoffs.
and I-840,
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
there's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
And he has added players that do fit.
What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have two choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Already a gorgeous start out there across Middle Tennessee. I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey. Partly cloudy skies and temperatures continuing to warm from the 70s into the 80s as we go throughout the afternoon hours, staying dry at least until tomorrow.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Willy Donick here to tell you once again about QC Kinetics. These guys are doing great work in our listening area. They've got clinics now in our listening area and all over America, and they've had great success with a very simple science. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing damaged tissue. They call it regenerative medicine, lasting pain relief that is going to be really meaningful for you, and the bottom line is you're going to be on the go and doing the things that you love to do. That's what it's all about. So if you've got that shoulder pain, that back pain that's inhibiting you from your golf game, hiking, tennis, running, whatever it is, talk to QC Kinetics because you may not have explored them before, and it might be the perfect solution for you. It's exciting, new, natural, no side effects, and no downtime. Here's the phone number, 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game Nashville app. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin here today joining us in place of Derek Mason and Willy Donick, who is on vacation. People just wave at Joe.
I know.
They love you.
I got your stuff in my car. There you go. We'll talk later. There you go.
I don't know what that means. I don't want to know. I don't need to ask questions.
Sorry.
What you do in your spare time? That's your
not
your
a body.
deal.
Not a body.
Teron Davenport going to join us here in just a second as things have wrapped up for the day here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
I think, Chase, what we've learned so far today is that Roger McCreary went to the same high school as the guy who invented the Super Soaker water gun.
Yes, that's the biggest thing that we've learned today. That is for sure. But something Mike Vrabel said, this is the art of a head coach and an executive in this league too, of being asked a question and giving an answer and not answering the question at all. And that's exactly what Mike Vrabel did when he was asked about if he felt like this week or next week with the joint practices would help him solidify the right tackle position. He basically went into the answer of, I think it's good for all positions. The DBs, as Teron Davenport joins us now. I mean, do you think they're any closer to figuring out who the right tackle is?
No, I think it's actually gotten worse.
I do too. I'll say this.
The way they split it.
I don't think the right tackle's on the roster.
I don't know, man. Petit Farrar he's impressive. I think it's just a matter he just kind of came in, and if you ask me, he's ahead of Dylan Radins right now. I agree. In that race. Now, as far as the right tackle not being on the roster, man, that's not a good thing if that's the case. That really is.
I know.
I feel like they missed the boat, man. Morgan Moses was a guy that was out there 3 years, $15 million. I thought that would have been an excellent signing.
You had him. I remember that. I think you talked about him a lot.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Petit Frere, and I don't know if you heard Trevor Maddish's comments on Friday with Stillman and company,
I did.
but he did not hold back on Dylan Radins.
Yeah.
But Petit Frere is showing me that there's a lot to work with, that he's coming along. It's just, do you trust that guy week one against New York, a rookie that still has some growing to do, to throw him out there? Because so many times you see a guy get thrown into a situation like that out of necessity, but it hinders their development at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, going against guys like Rashad Weaver in practice, going against Harold Landry, he's had some really good reps against Harold Landry in pass rush situations that I've been impressed in. Going against Bud Dupree, it gives him a good mix of guys to see. So I like that preparation side of things. A couple of days going against Shaq Barrett, that's going to help, right? And then the week after going against Marcus Golden, you're getting to see a variety of pass rushers. So I think he'll get opportunities to be ready for game one. In game one you got Azeez Ojulari, a guy I really like out of Georgia. So that's going to be a task for him. But I don't see why he wouldn't be up for it.
How much did they want Radins to take this job, to own this job? I mean, you got a guy, second-round pick, didn't play in 2020. Again, you go back to a guy that's like, all right, we want everybody to look at us like we did the right thing by taking this guy. How much does Robinson and Vrabel want Radins just to take this position and own it?
I think they want him to take the position, but it's a competition, and they're leaving it open to guys competing. But you're right. When you spent a first-round pick, and that guy is making videos or something right now, and then, you got a second-round pick, so it's 2 high picks, and now your third-round pick is competing with that second-round pick and seems to have the inside track. It's just kind of flipped. I really thought Radins was going to be the guy, all things. He won the offseason award, everything, but Petit Farrar has come in and made a case for himself.
So these next 2 weeks with the joint practice with the Buccaneers and the Cardinals, I like this because you get a lot of one-on-one work.
Yep.
Normally you don't see in a preseason game. You expect somebody to kind of stand out then? I mean, after these 4 joint practices.
Yeah, I think somebody will stand out because it's much more opportunity. Like, these are like the games.
Right.
Right? So the intensity is all the way up. And when you look at both of these guys, like, they're by nature, they seem to be more reserved, relaxed guys. So I'm hoping that when you see them in these situations, and obviously they're reserved, relaxed off the field. On the field, they're different. But I'm hoping that you see like a dog come out of them in these next couple weeks.
All right, Teron, you know football. You know the NFL very well. You're the GM. Who do you start?
Right now,
yeah.
I'm going Petit Farrar Ferrer. That's where I start. I think he gives you more push in the pass run blocking situation, and it's pretty much equal in pass pro.
You going Brewer at left guard?
Oh yeah, that's automatic. He
Yeah.
had a nice block
That's a
today.
lock, I think.
The first rep of team period, he moved some. I think it was David Long. He just moved him out of the way, and Hilliard was able to squirt through. That's the thing. You talk about the right tackle competition and the left guard competition. I thought that was going to be more of a competition than the right tackle.
Yeah.
But Brewer has come in and just put it together, and that's the left guard in my opinion.
Teron Davenport is with us. Here's what I like about Brewer too is his versatility. He started the game at center.
Yeah.
And Ben Jones has been solid for you, but Ben Jones is obviously getting up there. He's got wear and tear. I like the idea of having a guy that's going to play every week at left guard, but if you had to move some furniture around because of Ben Jones, that you have that available as well.
And I think Corey Levin gives you that too.
Yep.
And I'm glad that they brought him back because I've always thought that he was a solid guy for them, and he could play center, he could play guard, you could put him at tackle if you need to. So having that versatility allows you to carry less offensive linemen. You could carry 8 or 9 instead of 10.
Let's talk positives. What's the best position group out here with players in depth, according to you?
I'm probably going to go to D-line. Outside linebacker, really. I think Harold Landry, we know what he is. We know Bud Dupree, what he was. I think he could work back to that, being a year removed and getting to work specifically on getting better and not rehabbing this offseason. That was a major thing for him. Rashad Weaver and Vrabel, I don't know if you guys heard him kind of gush about him, but that dude, I'm telling you, every time I look up, because I try to, watch a rep of 7-on-7, a rep on pass rush, and kind of go back and forth. And even the inside run, he smoked Radens yesterday, as a matter of fact. No, 2 days ago. The last time they were in pads, he smoked them and got inside and had a TFL against on Hassan Haskins. So I think, Weaver, he could add to that group. Obviously, Ola, he was another one. I remember last camp, he was killing Radens last camp. Radens was a rookie, though.
Right.
So, but he's a guy that could get pass rush. And then you got David Aneni. He's a pass rush specialist. So I think you look at that group, they're in good shape there.
It's great to hear pass rush specialists because so many years at camp, they didn't have one on this team. They had nobody rush the passer on this team. So to hear they got multiple guys, if you're a Titans fan, you love hearing this stuff.
Yeah, I think they keep 4 of them. I think Aneni would be like a practice squad guy that they'll have go up and down. But that dude, he could get after it. He had back-to-back sacks against the Ravens. He came off the edge, screaming off the edge, brought down the quarterback. Then the next time he had a strip sack.
I've said if their front four, the Titans, can do what they did last year and step it up just a notch, this football team could be really, really good, Teron. Really good.
Yeah, and I almost said the D-line because obviously Simmons, you got Tart in the mix. Tart quietly he's an outstanding.
I was about
stopper.
to ask you about him because I don't feel like we've talked about him at all.
Yeah.
And I was trying to put a 53-man roster together, which is, hard to do. But I was doing that, and I got to him, and I'm like, well, he's making it, but you don't talk about him that much.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you're not really going to talk about a guy that much like him until game day. You know what I mean? Because what he does as far as clogging up the holes and making it so the linebackers could come in and make plays. He gets in penetration and that type of stuff, to stop runs. You don't talk about that as much because you see inside run is all the way over there, right? And then we're naturally going to focus on 7-on-7. You know what I mean?
Right.
One-on-ones or the tackle drill that they do. We're going to focus on that and not that. But I tell you, watch that. You'll see him pop up a little bit more. It's just we don't pay as much attention to it. But he's a player.
Okay, crazy or not, I say stone cold locks. Nothing is changing. Kyle Phillips, Racing McMath are on the team.
I don't think it's crazy.
I think it's done.
Rob Moore called him the professor today. He joked because he said Phillips is a little bit of a know-it-all. But they can't stop him at one-on-ones.
McMath to me looks like the deep threat.
And McMath, you know what? This is the thing There was a play today during team period it was during the second time they had team period where McMath ran a clear out. And you had Robert Woods just come across the middle, pushed everything back. Robert Woods, nice little catch. So you're starting to see not only the deep threat being established, but it benefiting other parts of the passing game.
You've been here 10 minutes. We haven't asked you about Malik Willis. Are you proud of us?
Hey, listen, I'm always willing to talk about Malik Willis. So there's other things to talk about, but yeah.
So, Malik, these two joint practices coming up, I mean, can he solidify number 2 if Woodside does really bad? If Malik shows really that he's understanding the game and has these really 2 joint practices, can he separate himself, become the number 2? Or is that a pipe dream? He's going to be number 3. Let's just figure that out.
I think he's more than likely going to be number 3 just because of the just downright trust that Mike Vrabel and the coaching staff have in Logan Woodside. He's not a bad quarterback. He'll make some throws. Come on, you got to do better. But if you look at the interceptions, everybody's going to point to him.
Right.
Well, Mason Kinsey has to work his way back to the football on one of them. The other one, he shouldn't have thrown it. But Godwin, look, as a receiver, once you declare what you're doing, you got to stick to it. You can't go inside, outside, and back inside. That confuses your quarterback. Woodside shouldn't have made that throw, though. So all that being said, I think, there's a lot of intrigue with Willis, but I think they want to keep all 3 of those guys, and whoever will be the backup, will be the one suiting up on game day.
Yeah, and I liked what Mike Vrabel did by, saying, hey, I want him to throw more. He's got his legs, and that's a safety blanket. He's got to throw the ball more. TD, thanks for the time. As always, we'll do it again next week and have a lot to talk about, I am sure.
For sure.
He's Teron Davenport. Talking with TD as the podcast drops every Wednesday, and also you can catch him on ESPN and ESPN Radio. Coming up next, we'll break down some of those things that we just talked about, plus what can be learned from these joint practices. We'll do that next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game.
And he's going. Nobody's going to catch him. Derrick Henry, touchdown.
We talk the game.
I don't think it was a bad play, but he took out their goalie.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Last year they got molded. That was it. This year, in terms of contributions they're going to get contributions from Caleb Farley of last year's class, Racy McMath of last year's class, and Traylon Burks of this year's class, Roger McCreary of this year's class. I believe Nicholas Petit-Ferrer is going to start at right tackle this year, so they'll get contributions from him, which is why I left Radens out, because I don't think they're going to get really anything from Radens. And they're going to get Chigakonkwo and Kyle Phillips. So I almost feel like they're going to get 2 draft classes this year where the players that can help the football team, because I can see a role for every single one of those guys. I think Okonkwo has a legitimate role on this football team this year. I think Phillips has a legitimate role on the football team.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram. WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derrick Mason. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for Titans training camp today. All of our coverage presented by Perman Energy, your one-stop petroleum solution appreciate Teron Davenport for joining us here just a few minutes ago as we break down practice today. It was the last practice before the joint practices. Tampa Bay coming to town starting on Wednesday. And I think this is where, Joe, we talked about this earlier, Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin in today, where I think we're going to see some of these position battles maybe get decided. Here at Teron, high praise for Nick Petit-Frere at that right tackle position. Could the third-round pick, the rookie, get that job?
Look, there's a lot of people that talk football in this town. TD might be the best. I mean, he's really good and detailed with what he covers and what he talks about. And so when he's up here telling us about Petit-Frere, about how good he is, gut feeling that he'll get that start. We'll see. But to break down how well he's doing in camp and how well Radence is not doing here, and not getting the job done and getting blown up the ball and getting beaten one-on-one drills with passing. I just, this is a thing where I'm sure Vrabel Robinson is like, you know what, just come on, just own this job. Take the Radence. We've given you every chance. Not going to do it, but Petit-Frere in there and then go forward. Look, they got a game September 11th. It's going to be here before you know it. So they make some decision. And it's still going to that last week, Chase, where it's unsettled. If I'm the Giants, I load up that side of the ball on that right side and just go after Tannehill and make your right tackle beat me.
Here's some things, too, that at this point in training camp, I wasn't sure if they were going to be decided. You heard Teron say it, and I agree with him, that he thought the left guard spot was going to be the bigger and tougher battle. To me, left guard's been decided. It's Aaron Brewer.
Yeah.
And he's won that job. Receivers, you knew Woods, Burks, and NWI, but then beyond that, you didn't know anything else. I feel like two of those receiver spots have been decided. And Kyle Phillips and Racey McMath. If they decide to keep a sixth, which I believe they will carry six, I think right now, I heard Joe Rexrode say this earlier, and I agree with him, I think it's Des Fitzpatrick. There's still a competition for that last spot, and they may decide that they want to use that spot somewhere else, because if they keep three quarterbacks, that's taking a spot.
Correct.
So that is something they haven't done in the past. But I think having some of these other positions decided already, whether it be officially or unofficially, I think that takes a little pressure off the coaching staff and off John Robinson, because they can then focus on areas of need, which continues to be right tackle.
Yeah, I mean, and just, again, you hope that Radence could have separated himself and do it, but if not, I mean, they're not going to wait for him. I mean, they're not going to sit there and wait, all right, and if these joint practices this week with the Buccaneers and next week with the Cardinals, and if Radence is just terrible and Petit-Frere is average, well, your decision's made for you. But then again, Radence could come out and, and put that Ravens game behind him and have really these good 4 practices, the 2 joint ones with the Buccaneers and Cardinals, and kind of separate himself. Right now, it seems like they've given him every chance in the world, Chaser, and he's not taking advantage of it. So, like TD said, Petit-Frere could be that guy, probably be that guy starting on September 11th.
Mike Vrabel addressed the media earlier today and discussed his philosophy with these joint practices.
When deciding these joint practices and which team, what goes into that from your perspective? Is there something in particular you want in the matchup? Is that just kind of who you're talking to anyway, or?
Well, I think it starts with, a lot of it is scheduling. I think it starts with scheduling, like, you have to be home or you have to be on the road the first week, and, somebody else has to be, on the road. So then you cancel that week off and you try to figure out, okay, who needs to travel the second week when we're at home, and then, have a great relationship with those guys and worked well in the past. So, you make some calls, and some teams are available for it, some teams aren't. And then you try to come up with a working relationship. You send them a script. They try to add if hey, let's think about this, and you kind of work with them and, try to make sure everybody gets good work in.
There you go, Mike Vrabel discussing the joint practices. You kind of alluded to this earlier with how beneficial these joint practices are, and you're seeing more and more teams do this. I can remember a team would do 1 per training camp. Now they're doing 2 per training camp. I firmly believe that they're more beneficial than the actual preseason games.
Sure.
You will eventually see 2 preseason games and more teams doing these joint practices.
Absolutely. They'll still keep the preseason games because that's all about money. We know the owners love money, love making money. And then
but they still want the 18th regular season game, and they're going to get that eventually. I think.
You're right. Yeah, but there's been teams like when the Dolphins came here, when Fish was here. They had, you got to watch. They got hot, they got physical. There were fights left and right. I remember when the Titans went and did the practice with the Rams in 2000 up in Illinois. There were fights there too as well, and you try to hope to get good work out of that. So those fights, like the Patriots came in, there was some pushing and shoving a few years ago, but it wasn't to the point of like, all right, more fights and actual reps that were going on. I agree. You could show, get the one-on-one drills going better than more than you can in a preseason game. I think it's so beneficial. Now, that's why we'll see Tannehill out here throwing the ball around on these days, working with there. So we'll get plenty. They'll say, well, they didn't get any work in the preseason game for the first game. They'll get a lot of work out here Wednesday, Thursday, and the next week when the Cardinals show up. There'll be plenty of work for the first team guys as they head into the season.
Who needs to, in your mind, have a good week? Who needs to really show the coaches, show John Robinson that, hey, I'm ready for this, and take a step forward, whether it's somebody fighting for a starting spot or somebody that's fighting to make the team?
Maybe backup running back, maybe. Haskins is pretty good. Chestnut ran well the other night. Those things right there, you got to establish, you talk about the receivers, who's going to kind of separate, because that's a crowded room right now, a bunch of receivers.
I know there's a lot of guys that you're going to cut that are probably going to end up on other rosters.
Yeah, so I don't envy John Robinson to do that. But again, it goes back to the right tackle position. I can't believe we spend so much time on the right tackle, but it's an important position. Why didn't they keep who they have, the Questenberry, who it was?
Yep. I don't know, and now he's probably going to start for, I think, the Bills.
Yeah, I don't. Roger Saffold's up there too as well.
Yeah.
I just, those guys kind of got to separate themselves. I don't think at this point they're too worried about it, because I think deep down they know Petit Frere is going to be the guy. Just the work he had at Ohio State, what he's shown in here in practice so far. I think they're giving Raiders chances to say, all right, we gave you every chance in the world, just didn't get it done. Thanks, and let's plug in Petit Frere. So it's right tackle.
I'll give you a guy that I think needs to have a good week. Going into training camp, I thought he had a shot to make this roster, and now I don't as much. Somebody we know quite well, Josh Malone.
Okay.
I was very impressed with him in minicamp, and I think he showed that he had grown a lot in his 3 years in the league. He's never really made it,
right?
Which has been a surprise, because we know what he was in high school. Talk about the game blitz. He was a guy we talked about quite a bit, and then goes to Tennessee, has a nice career there. And I thought that he really had a chance to make this roster, and he still might. But Des Fitzpatrick has played so well. You've had Terry Godwin that they signed right at the start of training camp, and he's come in and really turned some heads. Hollister has had a nice camp. And you can't keep all of these guys. But I think if there is a sixth spot, maybe a seventh if it's special teams, available, Malone needs to show something this week to be able to be in that conversation.
Yeah, it's a good point. We're rooting for him. Obviously, station camp guy, went to the University of Tennessee, running in our backyard. But I just don't, you're getting the reps. You go into the game, you're trying to get the ball, but Woodside can't deliver the ball to you. There's a lot of things going on. That's why these one-on-one drills these next 2 days are so important and so pivotal. But, is he getting it when he gets 11-11? Is Tannehill throwing the ball? Does he get the opportunity? So he's really behind the eight ball. It's really difficult to make the team from that standpoint. But, anything can happen in 2 weeks. Anything can happen. An injury, maybe a guy just not playing up his potential, gets put back, you step up, and you got to, when you get the time to get on the field, you got to make the most of it. So I don't know if he's getting the opportunity, Chase.
Receivers for me right now, Woods, Burks, NWI, Phillips, McMath, and then Des Fitzpatrick would be the sixth.
Isn't that crazy? Would you have thought that a year ago?
No, but he's come such a long way. And Mike Vrabel talked about that earlier in camp, that, what did he learn from the practice squad? And he said he made a screwball peanut butter whiskey. You can have it as a shot. I like it chilled. You can have it on the rocks. You can have it as a old-fashioned, a peanut butter old-fashioned, a PB&J shot. Just go to screwballwhiskey.com for more recipes. And the reason why it's my favorite and that I love it so much, it's an original. Just like me, it's the most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world as well. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, natural flavors, and that's what makes it so tasty and makes it go down smooth. So when you're out and about with your friends, do like I do. Order it by name. Say you want a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Also do like I do. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
When you need electronics or appliances, find great deals in-store or online at Electronic Express. Save big on favorite brands like Samsung, GE, Nintendo, iRobot, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, and more. Save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Join 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and the Nolensville Fire and Rescue for the 9th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive this Wednesday, August 17th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling
on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Finish Julio. How much do you look forward to seeing Caleb against big stature receivers like that?
Well, just new receivers, you know what I mean? Just new receivers, and they obviously have big receivers. I mean, we have some guys that, are good size as well. So it's just a different body, different play style. And, I think it'll be a great challenge for us.
Mike Grable, after practice today, talking about going up against different wide receivers. Welcome back in, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin in today for Derek and Willy. Willy will be back at the end of the week. In fact, Friday, it's you and Willy. It's the Sports Revolution.
Where are you going?
I got another vacation. Going on vacation again.
Again?
Yeah. I take a lot of vacation because I get a lot of vacation.
Obviously you do. He's coming back for one day?
Yeah.
Why?
Coming back from Ireland.
For one day to work.
Yeah,
God bless him. That's work ethic.
He's dedicated.
He's
dedicated like that.
Oh, man.
But here's why I bring up the receivers that they're going to be going up against. Because one of those receivers for Tampa is Julio Jones. And I'm just curious of what that's going to be like. I mean, I haven't kept up with Tampa and how much he's been practicing or hasn't practiced. We know that he didn't practice here. That was a rarity whenever he'd be on the practice field for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, it was rare for him to finish a game for the Tennessee Titans. But obviously Julio in his heyday would obviously be a big test for these cornerbacks for the Titans to go up against. But, he's 12th year in the league now, hasn't been healthy. So I don't know exactly what that's going to mean. And you could tell with the question, I think that was Corey that asked the question, where he was trying to go with it. Mike took it a different place because he wasn't going to touch that. But I do think Julio Jones is a bit of a storyline coming back to St. Thomas Sports Park later this week.
Yeah. Look, I'm indifferent about him because, you saw how great he was with the Falcons and what he did. And last year was just terrible. I mean, it just wasn't.
Sound like Jeff Fisher there.
I did. It was terrible. I didn't see it just was something like, when they signed him. And, it was funny. I was with A.J. and Tannehill at an event the day they signed Julio Jones. Like, this is it. This is it. And I'm thinking, man, a lot of people out there, chirping. Remember when they signed Jadeveon Clowney and what a disaster that was. And people desperately, back in 2020, wanted to give Clowney a sack. And that was the Vikings game when quarterback fell down, he touched him on the ankle. Like, that's a sack. The one Julio in Seattle last year, his toes in the end zone. Was it a cat? That's a touchdown. Spent weeks on that. I'd be shocked if Julio Jones even practices. And if I come out here, I would love, if I'm Roger McCreary, I'd love to go against Julio's also from his neck of the woods down there in Mobile. That'd be great. But I'd be interested to see if Julio even shows up or what kind of practice he goes through here on Thursday and Friday.
Well, look, I think for Tampa, they obviously have Mike Evans and they have Chris Godwin, but they almost, they have a young receiver group. Scotty Miller's still there. They signed Brashard Perryman. They're looking for those complementary pieces at receiver, and if Julio can stay healthy, I think he can be that guy. Jim Wyatt's that guy.
Jim Wyatt is
what
that
they
guy.
need.
He's a league of his own, man. Hall of Famer, still getting it done. It'll be Mike Evans. Mike Evans, Mike Evans is a man. Boy,
no doubt.
It's one of those things where like, oh, that's real smart, Joe. He's a man. Like he's come to play today.
Is he 40?
On all those. It'll be. Is it open to the public at all?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how that has worked exactly this year. I know it's very limited with the space they have over here. I think it was just for season ticket holders. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be good. And then next week, watching Kyler Murray run around will be kind of cool. And J.J. Watt going one-on-one with Taylor Lewan out here. So there's a little history there.
J.J. Watt.
So that'll be some fun things. But, it's good for these teams. They're going to know a lot more about this football team Friday afternoon after seeing the one-on-one drills Thursday and Friday than they know right now about this Titans football team.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why I think they're so beneficial. But I'm curious of, when Mike Vrabel is – let's say Julio Jones has a touchdown catch or something and Vrabel gets asked about it. How's he – he's probably going to be like, well, we got to play better, got to coach better. I'll just give that answer.
Yeah, he's the Belichick school of like, all right, I'm moving on. Next one. Great job. If I'm Belichick, if I'm Vrabel, I'm like, great job. You did a good job today. It's fine. Let's talk about my team and my players and how we got to get better and do all that good stuff right there. But, disappointed. Even Vrabel, they're slightly disappointed that Brady's not going to be here. Even the Titans players, because they don't want to blame Gabbert. Who are the quarterbacks in the –
Well, Kyle Trask, who I'm curious to see, kind of the jump he makes.
Right.
Is he – when they drafted him last year, the thought was, okay, maybe he could be Brady's replacement eventually. He's not there yet, obviously.
No.
But
Gabbert's still – well, I'm a Trask. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Gabbert because Gabbert's been in, 2011. We got drafted by the Jaguars.
Yeah, out of Mizzou.
Yep.
And then they have Ryan Griffin, who's been a career backup out of Tulane, who's been with them for a while. I remember him from Hard Knocks and then Trask. So those are the three that you will see.
Ooh, that's
big game Blaine.
That's going to be something else. You go from Brady to Gabbert out here at practice. Oh, man. At least next week, hopefully Kyler Murray is going to be here, and they'll get some good work with him.
I'd be interested to watch Kyler practice. I know they had to put a clause in his contract about staying in the playbook, but still would like to, which has now been redacted.
Yeah,
but
the whole thing was just weird. It's like, hey, nothing to see here. Cardinal manager, nothing to see here. It's kind of like we put it in as a joke to see if somebody would laugh, and y'all laughed, and we're going to take it back out. That whole thing was just bizarre that went on.
Well, and my favorite part was he gets up at a press conference and starts naming off his high school accolades that he went undefeated in high school. Well, yeah, Al Bundy does, but that's
Kyler Murray's dad was a heck of a quarterback at A&M back in the day, so he's got the talent, no doubt. I remember going back watching Kyler Murray in the Orange Bowl versus Bama when Bama started out to steamroll him, and that dude took every shot in the pocket and almost rallied the Sooners to come back to win the game. And then Alabama actually pulled away in the fourth quarter. But I was still shocked that he went number 1 in 2019. The draft that's held here in Nashville, Tennessee. But and you feel excited, a guy like Roger McCreary, who had on the show earlier, the fact of now Tampa Bay, seeing these rookies, these other teams that are coming in here, watch how they practice, watch how they perform. So this is a big week for the rookies.
Do you ever see, when you watch a guy that played in the SEC, which is kind of like the I guess, 9th NFL division, if you really want to look at it that way, especially the West. But when you see guys like McCreary that come in here, Henry, that have played for those programs, Henry especially, Nick Saban runs his team like an NFL team.
Right.
And what's expected. Do you feel like the learning curve is maybe a little less for them than others? Or
That's a good point. You know, I go back. All right, so like for Derrick Henry, he comes here in 2016. You know, at Bama, it's just a different vibe in training camp and the campus. And now you come here, you almost feel like you're alone. You know, I mean, you're one guy. Your support staff's not around you anymore. And if for rookies, I think people realize how difficult it is for a rookie to make a football team, because you come from all that from Alabama, and then, you know, even Roger McCreary from Auburn. I mean, all the love and adoration you get. Now you're by yourself. I mean, that support staff is not around you right now. So you know, in the competition these guys go through each and every day. I know people who hate the SEC hate this conversation because it's overblown, but you got to look at these guys. But Roger McCreary, if not Ole Miss, and it's Arkansas. If not Arkansas, it's LSU. If not LSU, it's Alabama. It's Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You never take a break, never take a rest. So these guys show up here. They've already been through the fire, at least for the most part. And so there's that intangible they have that maybe some other guys don't have who come from a smaller school. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I think it prepares them. I mean, I think it's a benefit for them to go through that. And I love these stories of these guys coming from schools you've never heard of. You know, Nate Washington that played here and played for the Steelers as well, played at Tiffin.
Yeah.
You know, and that used to be a trivia question. Where did Nate Washington play
that's
college
right.
football? And he's a great story. He's an undrafted guy, you know, makes the Steelers and wins a couple Super Bowls with them. I think his rookie year they won the Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
And then the year before they came here.
Oh, wait.
Check me, Junie.
Yeah,
Junie's
you're
like,
right.
check me.
No, I was here for all that. Yeah, so 05, he was the rookie for the Steelers. In 08, he was the fourth-year guy. They won the Super Bowl. Then he comes here and has a career for the Titans.
Yeah, the first one, his rookie year, he didn't do much. I mean, he was on the team.
But, I mean, you look at this. You go back in time. I mean, look, to me, one of the greatest defensive linemen who's not in the Hall of Fame, Too Tall Jones. Where did he go to college?
TSU.
Where'd Walter Payton go?
Oh, where did Walter go?
Jackson State.
Jackie
Slater, Jackson State.
Yep.
Where'd Jerry Rice go?
It's Mississippi Methodist.
Valley State. Yeah. So it's what you do when you get here.
Yeah.
It's what you do when you
Stevie
get
Nair,
here.
Alcorn State.
Yeah, when you get here and you got to perform once you get your name and numbers called. So, I mean, there are a lot of first round. You know, Roger McCreary went to the same high school as Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
All right. Is that the biggest bust of all time? Number one pick? Quarterback did terrible?
Well,
he's in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans are in that conversation too now.
Yeah.
From a couple years ago.
Right. But you look at that. So it's not guaranteed that because you go to an SEC school you're going to make the team. You just got to prove where you're at. I mean, Derrick Henry didn't start first year here. DeMarco Murray did.
Yeah, first two.
Then they finally wised up like, all right, we got to get Derrick Henry in here and let him get going and what he could do and make the most of it. But, yeah, but they come here with a little something extra, but it doesn't guarantee you a spot on the team at all.
What's interesting about Derrick Henry, I've referenced this more times than I think I have anything else, but I will never forget this because when Nick Saban speaks, you tend to listen to him. He sat down at our table, and Derrick had just come into his own. Like you could tell that, you know, he had the conversation with Eddie George. Something had clicked, and I think it was D-Mase asked Nick Saban the question of, you know, what have you seen, you know, with Derrick that, you know, that now it's starting to click. And he said, I learned early on with him that he's the kind of back that you keep feeding him the ball and he just gets better and better and better. And he said, you know, if you look at his numbers here, you know, we didn't feed him the ball much in his first couple years. And then we kind of went to a plan where I wanted to have two running backs. And I learned that the more I fed Derrick the ball, the better he got. And so we just kind of went away from that plan. And Derrick was the guy. And then by the time he got to his senior year, I mean, he just had an absorbent amount of carries, but it worked.
Yeah.
And so I kind of think that that's what the Titans had to learn with him. And you still see that. Like, that's why he's a little slow out of the gates. Now, he's gotten a little bit better as his career has gone on. But
well, our trivia question on Friday was name the running back taken ahead of Derrick Henry in the 2016 draft. There's one running back taken at number 4 or 5 when it was ahead of Derrick Henry, who went 45th. Remember it was?
Oh, I don't.
A trivia question.
2016?
Yep. And I would preface by saying that was the 15-16 right in there when all the analysts downgraded running backs. You don't need a running back. You don't need to pay them the money. They're only good for 3 or 4 years. NFL is cyclical. I mean, now you need a running back on your team just to pound the ball and pound the ball and pound the ball. You know, and the passing game is not so important. I mean, it all comes in ebbs and flows, and 4 years from now, they go back around. But, yeah.
I don't remember.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboys took him, I think, at number 4 in that draft.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we laugh because 31 teams passed in the first round on Derrick Henry. Patriots didn't have a first-round pick, so they couldn't have.
Yeah.
Even the Titans passed on him.
Yep.
Right? So they got it at 45, and they had the 3 or 4 picks in the second round, and they took him, and what a great pick it's been.
I'll never forget. That was during the Predators playoff series, I believe, against Chicago, and Jared and I were doing a show from Pete and Terry's Tavern at Bridgestone Arena ahead of a game, and he's in mid-sentence talking about the Predators, and goes, and I think I just saw that the Titans drafted Derrick Henry in the second round. I don't really know what that's about. I mean, even then, people were like, why? Like, I mean, he went to Alabama. Like, is it really going to translate? Now he's one of the best backs.
That was the talk. Is like these running backs are not going to last. They wear and tear 4 years maximum, you know, and don't pay them the money because they can't do that. And you find out, well, you know, there's ways they can make it through a season and not get 8,000 carries and get hit every time they get the ball. And the running back has now become more in value again. And so you're going to have a good football team, you got to have a good running back.
Coming up next, we started to get into it earlier, but we'll get back into the AP Top 25 and what that means for one team out of our state. But we were all kids once, showing up on that first day of school in new clothes, new shoes, ready to go. It was a big deal. Big Joe always looked good on the first day of school.
Thanks, buddy.
And you know what? It's still a big deal. There are thousands of kids, though, in Middle Tennessee who are going to be embarrassed on their first day because they don't have a decent pair of shoes to wear, and we want to change that. Souls for Music City is our cause, so please consider joining us with a simple $20 donation. That's all it takes to put a new pair of athletic shoes on the feet of a homeless child in Middle Tennessee. All you have to do is text DONATE to 615-737-1025 right now and help make a difference in the life of a single child. That's DONATE to 615-737-1025. And thank you for your kindness.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Celebrate back-to-school season with Hiller. This month only, get free backyard upgrades when you replace essential home systems like a free Traeger grill with a new whole home generator or a free Yeti cooler with a new tankless water heater. And Hiller's keeping you cool for back-to-school with zero-interest financing for up to 12 months on select new HVAC systems. Visit happyhiller.com. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Old School Pizza in Brentwood. Right now, get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. Old School Pizza features New York style thin crust made fresh to order from imported Italian flour that gives a unique flavor and crunch. Check out Happy Hour every weekday afternoon from 3 to 5 for half off selected appetizers and draft beer. Have pizza the old school way at Old School Pizza in Brentwood. OldSchoolPizzaBrentwood.com.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Back here, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin, who we announced earlier today, is coming back for the Game Blitz.
Yeah, man.
Presented by Apple Collision Centers, which will debut Friday night at 6 o'clock. Elijah Campbell also coming back in the fold to help out with that. So looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Talk some high school football.
6 hours of high school football coverage every Friday night. And it's like the red zone, but for high school football. It's fun, it's fast, it's furious. We have a great time, joined by reporters and coaches. So if you're headed from game to game, out in the boot, you want to find out what's going on, tune in every Friday night, 6 to midnight. Thanks to Chase and Dennis and Bud over at the radio station for letting us come back and do this. It's truly, and I said earlier, high school football, for those who know me know how much I love high school football and just the purity of it and the passion of it. And they deserve one night. You know,
Yeah.
NFL's got every day, college got every day, and that's fine. Give the high school guys their Friday night, and we'll take full advantage of it and have a lot of fun starting this Friday night at 6.
We had another thing, too, that I didn't mention earlier, but over on our sister station, 94.9 The Fan, debuting today at 5 o'clock is a show that a lot of people probably know from this area, but Prep Football Weekly, Chris Eakes, his crew are part of that. So doing a lot with high school football.
Good.
As they'll debut today at 5 o'clock along with the Game Blitz coming up on Friday. Speaking of football, college football, you heard that music. It is near. The AP released their first top 25 poll earlier today. We know we had the coaches poll that has come out, and other people, trying to surmise how it would look. But Tennessee not making the top 25, but just outside in 26. Others receiving votes. They got 180 votes, so they just miss being in the top 25 behind BYU. But the top 5, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame. No surprise there, really, Joe.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm looking at the I told you I did this for 2016-2019 AP top 25 voter. Thank you, Teresa Walker. It was the top 10 teams are easy, but the 15 through 25, and even 11 through 15 is not bad, but the 16 through 25, man, trying to figure that out. That's why I looked at the bottom of this, like Wake Forest, 22, Cincinnati, 23, BYU, 25. But then you got Arkansas, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, 19, 20, 21 coming in. The SEC is well represented once again.
There's one team in the top 10 that was not ranked at the end of the season last year.
Ooh.
And it's a pretty prominent team.
Oklahoma?
Nope.
Not good. Clemson?
Nope.
Oh, I don't know then.
A&M.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Texas A&M.
My buddy.
Comes in at, Jimbo. You know Jimbo.
Don't get me started.
Texas A&M at 6th. And this is where, to me, he's not going to get fired because the buyout's too much and he signed that contract, but this is where the pressure really mounts for him because he's in the toughest division in college football behind, having to play Alabama. And, look, Arkansas is good. Obviously, on the other side, you have Georgia. And, yes, they beat Alabama last year, but LSU is going to be better.
Right.
Ole Miss, I think, is going to be okay, but who knows? They've lost a lot too. This is where the pressure's there for Jimbo and Texas A&M to really do something, even though I don't think they're going to make the playoff because of just the competition in their conference.
What, do you keep recycling coaches? Does somebody beat Saban? With Kevin Sumlin, and then, he beat him in 2012 with Manziel, and, of course, Jimbo beat him last year down in College Station. There's a are you just hold steady until Saban retires? What do you do here? You just can't keep replacing coaches. You got to win. When the game happens, but it's crazy to think of the dominance that one coach has had since 2007. Alabama was not that well. 2008, they went to the SEC championship game. In 2009, they won the national championship and rolled since then. So, I don't know, who do you get in there to replace?
Look, I think they have a good coach in Jimbo Fisher. Say what you want about him. I think sometimes he can be a little ridiculous, but I think sometimes all head coaches can be a little ridiculous. Yeah. But that's the way it is. it just at the end of the day, you've had the best recruiting class. How they got that, okay. You got to do something with it. And it's just now, do you trust him? Do you trust that staff to be able to do something with it? Look, we've seen crazy things happen. And I think what would be great for college football with all the turmoil right now is maybe Alabama isn't as good and somebody knocks them off early. Maybe Georgia falls back. Maybe there's another team that is not named Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame come in there and do something. The problem is parity's not there.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. The first 2 years Missouri was in the SEC. They won the SEC East.
Yeah.
They went to the championship game in 2012 and 2013.
They got shellacked.
They did. But at some point, though, they lost to Alabama and Auburn, who Auburn should have won the national title that year in 2013. But you look at the Ole Miss. It's a murderer's row, man. We know this every year. They got to go through and get there. And the time you play Alabama, you're tired. You get LSU rolling through there. Then you got, they play late in the season. I get all that stuff, but all these games is tough. And we talked earlier, we as far as the Vols go, they come in at 26, correct on this?
Yep.
All right. So I think one game I'm looking forward to is October 8th down in Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Because I'm not sure the Tennessee football players have been to that type of environment. If it's a Saturday night game in Baton Rouge, and if LSU can get a little success at the beginning of the season, and the Vols come in there unbeaten. They could beat Pittsburgh. They could beat Florida. They could go in there 4-0, I think it is, when they show up down there. And that environment, my goodness. With that hurry-up offense that Heupel's got in there, that's going to be an amazing game to watch. I just hope it's a Saturday night game in Baton Rouge, see what happens.
Well, and what's going to be interesting is by the time they get to that, are both teams ranked, which I think they will be, because I think there's a very good chance that Tennessee's 4-0 and LSU could be 4-0 at that point too.
Mm-hmm.
When they meet in Baton Rouge, which would be a fantastic – CBS probably picked that up. So it's probably the 2:30 game, if I had to guess, if all those things – now, obviously, Tennessee has to – take care of Ball State. They should do that. Then they got to go to Pitt. And
not going to be easy.
Not going to be easy. It's a good defense, but Pitt's overranked in my opinion. I think 17th is a little high for them.
Yeah, new quarterback coming in too as well, and but you got to go on the road with the football team, and again, and how well does get the no huddle, the hurry up working against Pitt, because they're not going to be seeing that in week one.
No.
So that's different to prepare for. If you haven't seen that's why like a team when they play the triple option. You play a triple option team, play them week one when you start because you got all summer to practice for it. If you week 9, if you're doing a triple option, that blows your mind because that's something you haven't seen all year long. And so for Pitt, they got to take care of game one. Then they'll focus on hype on that hurry up offense that comes in there on the that was it the 10th. Is that what it is?
Yep, September 10th.
Yeah.
So here's what I see happening too. They beat Ball State. They beat Pitt.
Okay.
So they're 2-0. Akron comes to Neyland Stadium, and there's going to be a moment in that game where Akron sneaks in on them and takes a touchdown lead. Heupel pulls everybody to the sideline and says, "Stop looking at next week. Let's take care of business," because that's going to happen.
Right.
Because you write Akron in as a win, which it's going to be. It should be a win because everybody's going to be looking ahead to September 24th in Knoxville when Florida comes to town.
Right. That sets the tone. I hate to say that, but if you lose that game, you're one game back in the SEC East. You're deflated after you start out 3-0. Now you're 3-1. You get a week off, and then I got to think about going to Baton Rouge. There's a lot of adverse effects here that could happen. This team rolls in the Baton Rouge, but think you win though. You knock out Florida good. Now you're sitting there at 4-0. You got a week off. I think there's a week off between the LSU game and the Alabama game. Am I correct or no? Do they go right after?
No, there's a week off between Florida and LSU.
Okay. All right, and then you got to come back October 15th and take on Alabama.
Yeah,
at home.
But if you take care of Florida and you take care of LSU, and so you're 5-0 going into, and luckily Alabama comes to Neyland.
Yep.
So going into that game, you're probably going to lose, but you got to like your position too. And if you just put up a fight, which. With that offense,
who does Tennessee after Alabama? They got UT Martin. All right, and then Kentucky.
And then Kentucky, which that's not going to be easy either.
That's at home.
And
then
Georgia. At Athens.
In Athens. So, there's a here's
at
a good
Baton
thing.
Rouge, at Athens.
Here's a good thing about Tennessee football. You're talking about chances to win. Remember a couple years ago, there was no chance they were going to win, no chance to compete, nothing was going on. And now it's like exciting brand of football. You got a lot of optimism there, so things are they're trending so far upward for this Tennessee football team that wasn't there a few years ago. But again, I'd take that game in Baton Rouge. I hope it's a Saturday night game, because if Tennessee can go down there and win that type of game, when Brian Kelly's still trying to put that team together, that says so much about Heupel and this football team. And you're on the Hendon Hooker win the Heisman Trophy award, aren't you?
I think he's a dark horse for it, for sure.
Got to win those games.
Got to win those games. Got to be competitive against the games that you're probably not going to win. That's the other thing.
Wouldn't it be I'd love to see him win, because I think it's going back old school. Tony, for the Tennessee fans know, in '85, had Tony Robinson not gotten hurt against Alabama, he would have won the Heisman Trophy that year. I mean, they beat Auburn and Bo in Neyland a few weeks before that, and when Sports Illustrated put Tony Robinson on the cover, Tony Robinson would have won the Heisman Trophy. There's not a doubt in my mind, and to see if Hendon Hooker could do that, put it together, that'd be really cool, because, Tennessee's only had one guy come close to winning the Heisman Trophy. Two guys, actually. Peyton and Johnny Majors.
Yeah, that's
1956.
Right. But they've never had one.
They've never had one. And Peyton in 97.
Still, Peyton should have won that in 97.
Yeah, it's funny. You give Chris Fowler, because I he had a tweet one time about something about Tennessee football, but he had in a book where when he said Peyton Manning did not win the Heisman Trophy that year, that Tennessee went to a trailer park frenzy. He said that. I mean, he got on the air and said that, and boy, he wish he could take that back 1,000 ways in one for not saying that, but it was a thing where, probably Peyton should have won it. Charles Woodson put up a heck of a year, and that was one of the first times a defensive player really had taken home the award for the Heisman Trophy.
Coming up next, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Papa Roach and Falling in Reverse in Municipal Auditorium on Wednesday, August 31st. But you must participate in Titans Trivia, plus celebrity birthdays. That's all coming up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey. Staying dry as we continue through our afternoon. Partly cloudy skies and warming a few more degrees into the mid to upper 80s for daytime highs. Sunset at 7:37 p.m. and staying dry through the overnight hours.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, Willy Donick here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. You can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off those 23% rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget. If your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto now and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith, talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmett Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin here with you today. And I don't remember, I was reading the text line and got...
No, one of the best things about Zoom, we have that Zoom link up. You can watch the show. It's a different background you can put up there. So
where are you right now? You were in San Francisco earlier.
I'm overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, about to go for a little walk, a little bike ride. Then I'll head up to Sonoma this afternoon and have a little wine.
Cool. Well, be careful.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you.
Be careful. You better use the buddy system.
All right.
All right. Now is your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Papa Roach at Municipal Auditorium on Wednesday, August 31st. But you must answer this trivia question. And if you were listening to the show earlier, it should be very easy for you. 615-737-1025. And, Joe, the question is?
So we had Roger McCreary, the Titans' second-round cornerback, join us a little bit. And he went to high school down in Mobile, Alabama. And we checked the notable alumni at his high school. Roger McCreary went to the same high school as a former number 1 overall NFL pick. Who was the former number 1 NFL pick that went to the same high school as Roger McCreary? And the hint we give you, he's no longer in the National Football League.
He is not.
He is not in the National Football League any longer. And it's not one you got to go back 60 years. But who went to the same high school as Roger McCreary down in Mobile, Alabama? Who went to the same high school with Roger McCreary and win tickets to go see whom?
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
615-737-1025. Nick will answer that off the air. And now we're going to make Nick's life even harder because we're going to put him to work now because it's time for Celebrity Birthday.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. A little fun for your midday right now, Celebrity Birthdays. Here's the game,
presented by Joe Dubin.
Presented by Joe Dubin. Make sure you shop at all Joe Dubin products, wherever you find them, the Big Joe brand. All right, so you got to get these celebrity birthdays within 2 years. A little fun at midday, right, Chaser?
Yes.
All right, so Chase, since you're here, first birthday today, Deborah Messing. She was from Will and Grace. How old is Deborah Messing?
Ooh. I'm going to say 51.
Oh, she is 54 today. So close. Just
You're not going to let Nick play?
Oh, Nick, are you there?
Yeah, come on. Come on. Nick, this is ridiculous. Okay, how about 58?
We're on 54. Good job, Nick. All right, Nick, you go first then. Next up is actor Anthony Anderson. How old is Anthony Anderson?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so young. I'm going to say 60.
Anthony Anderson. What was he in?
Law and Order. He's been in a bunch of movies. Was he in Blackish? I think that's a TV show, yes.
58.
52.
Okay.
Great actor. Ben Affleck. How old is Ben Affleck, Nick?
Oh.
How old is your favorite actor?
No, he's not my favorite.
That's
I'm going
not
to
what you said.
say...
It's a joke, Nick.
Okay. Hey, he's not a good Batman. Okay, I'm going to say 52.
He said you're a good radio producer, so maybe you want to walk back your comments. Chaser?
52 is a good guess. Guess.
Something.
54.
He's 50. Him and Mike Vrabel the same age.
That was my initial guess.
I told you, go with your gut feeling. It's always correct. Nick, by the way, who did Ben Affleck just marry?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
Benjelina.
J-Lo.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that's right.
Bradgelina. What?
Bradgelina. Whatever.
Chaser's got to go to the house once in a while. Oh, my goodness. All right, Nick, actress Natasha Henstridge. She was in the original movie Species.
Okay, I'm going to say 68.
Close.
Look, I don't know any of these people, okay?
But they know you.
That's the idea.
Right.
It's supposed to be fun. Let's go 56.
48.
Okay.
40 years old.
So neither one of us have gotten one.
Correct. Keep going down. Some of these people I've never heard of either, so don't feel bad. All right, so Nick, you got to get this. Singer-actor Joe Jonas from the Jonas Brothers. How old is he?
Okay. I'll say 30.
28.
33. Joe Jonas. Now, our producer on site here, what's his name?
Junie.
Junie, today's Jennifer Lawrence's birthday. So hold on, Nick. You don't get to do this one. Junie, go. How old is Jennifer? She's from Louisville.
I know that she's from my hometown. I'm gonna say 32.
Chaser?
Jennifer Lawrence. 34.
32 exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Louisville man gets it in there. Finally, I like a Louisville guy. I don't like Stillman because he's from Louisville, but I like you. That'll work out fine. All right, here we go. Are you back there? Nick, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
She played the daughter on the Munsters, Patricia Priest. How old is she?
Oh, just for the heck of it, I'll say 75.
That's probably not a bad guess. 70.
86.
A little off.
Well done. Songwriter Jimmy Webb, who lives here in Nashville. He's probably listening. Hello, Mr. Webb. Happy birthday. Nick, how old is Jimmy Webb?
Oh, I'll say 82.
75.
76.
Yeah, there you go.
Well
Finally,
done.
someone got one.
You guys are doing great.
Judy got one.
So you got to get this one, Nick. This is down your kind of lane. Actor Rondell Sheridan. He was on That's So Raven. He was the dad on That's So Raven, I think.
Okay, I'm going to say he's probably 58. Probably
55.
smaller than that.
64. Not bad. The man over here to the right had it. Well done with that. Let's see who else we got in here. Any more popular birthdays for people? Okay. Britain's Princess Anne. Last one. Nick, how old's Princess Anne?
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to say 53.
Nope.
71.
72. Chaser wins it. That's your celebrity birthdays. Go do that to your coworkers. Have fun. And be the life of the party at work. But my man here got two of them. Judy got two of them.
Yeah, Junie did good.
Junie went 2-0.
Yeah.
I guessed twice, and I got them both.
But you nailed Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, you the hometown. Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so she's a little bit older. So
yeah,
older
she was in high school, and I was coming out of elementary school. And she also went to my rival high school for a while, so very familiar.
Wait, what about the rapper Jack Harlow?
Jack Harlow, he's 2 years younger than I am. So I always tell people this story all the time that I saw him when he was a sophomore and I was a senior at some of the mutual parties we were at, and I thought his career was going nowhere. He used to laugh at him, and now he's laughing at me. So
please laugh at me. I'd like my career to go somewhere, and it's going nowhere.
I just looked at Facebook.
Yeah.
And our buddy Greg Pogue, his daughter Grace, it's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Grace.
I'm sure Greg will call for tickets later.
She's a sweetheart and doing well in the realtor world. That's great, yeah.
She is.
Famous people, Jack Harlow. So if Jack Harlow saw you, Jenny, he'd know who you are?
No, he definitely wouldn't know who I was. We went to different schools, different parts of town. But I saw him one time. They were like, "Oh yeah, this guy's trying to be a rapper," and I was like, "Him?" I was like, "Ain't no way." And I listened to some of his stuff, and even some of his fans will tell you his high school stuff wasn't that good. So sorry, Jack, for laughing at you before you became famous.
That's all right. He's probably writing names down in a book that he's got for all that. Says that.
I would love for Junie to show up in a book. That would be fantastic.
Right.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, Could any of these position battles be decided this week with joint practices? Plus, Trevor Maddich with some strong words on Dylan Raditz. We'll talk about that coming up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch The Game.
And the score! Philip Forsberg from the left circle!
We talk the game.
You can't just pick up one guy and be competitive in the playoffs.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Tools of the Game brought to you by Northern Tool and Equipment. It's time to power shop. Save up to 60% on pressure washers, sprayers, generators, fans, lawn and garden equipment, and more. Find hundreds of deals at Northern Tool and Equipment or online at northerntool.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Are you ready for this?
You've never seen the PBR like this. Buckle up for the ultimate weekend in Western sports as the PBR Team Series invades Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, August 19th through the 21st. 8 teams, 3 days, 1 champion. Don't miss your chance to watch history as it's made. Get your tickets now at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com. PBR Team Series. Bull riding will never be the same.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Still in company. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
1 o'clock hour, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase live at St. Thomas Sports Park for Titans training camp. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin here today. Junie Riddle is our on-site engineer as well. Nick Keyser back at the Hillside Medical Game
He's
Studio.
in the hole,
yeah.
and I'm in the weeds, right?
Or something. It's hot.
I tell you, I love the
I need a
backgrounds on these Google Zooms, whatever you could. So I was in San Francisco. Now I'm in the cornfields of Iowa, looks like. So I'm definitely in the weeds right now.
I think you're in the grass. That didn't even look like cornfields.
Oh, man.
I don't know what you're doing.
Hey, did we get a winner? Nick, did we get a winner for our trivia question?
Yeah, we did. It is, I will hand it off. Okay, it is Seth Lake.
Seth
Lake. Okay.
He's a Twitter guy. No, we know him from Twitter, I think. Congrats,
I think
Seth.
so. Congrats, Seth.
So the trivia question was Roger McCreary. We had on the show earlier. Went to high school, the same high school, has a former #1 pick in the draft. That would be Jamarcus Russell. And then you ask if he mentored him in a little bit, which is a good question because Russell can say, here's what not to do.
Sure.
And he talked about another guy, I think Antonio Cromartie. Was that the guy's name that he said? I'll look it back up there.
Yeah, and here's why I asked that question, because how many of these guys, because like Vince Young has done this. Vince Young has gone back to the University of Texas, and I think Vince has kind of used, even though he was Rookie of the Year, and he did have a few good years, with the Titans, but he couldn't get out of his own way in the long run. And, goes to Philadelphia and says it's the dream team, and that doesn't work. And
he was Seattle for like a little spiel.
I think it was Green Bay.
Green Bay.
He ended with Green Bay.
I just, what's funny is I remember sitting in Reliance Stadium in 2006 when we went to overtime versus the Texans. He dropped back the pass, and for some dumb reason, the Texans had like 8 guys at him. And he just sidestepped 2 guys and sprinted 40 yards to the end zone and won that game. And I was like, my goodness. I always thought if you could get him out somehow one-on-one, nobody in the league could tackle him.
No.
Nobody in the league, and I know he was a quarterback, and I get all that stuff, but they couldn't stop him. It was just unbelievable. Of course, he comes off the greatest college performance of all time, the Rose Bowl in 2005 season against
greatest college football game ever.
Ever. You're right. Ever. The way he just took over and dominated that game in the Rose Bowl, and then he comes here. Remember, VY's my guy, and he just couldn't get it done from 2006 to they brought Kerry Collins in, I think right around that same time.
Well, Kerry was here at the beginning.
Yes.
They had – so let's see. Let's test your Jeff Fisher knowledge here.
All right.
So 2006, they draft VY, and it was going to be, the whole thing with McNair happened, and so they moved on from McNair.
Right.
And Billy Volek was still here. And going into that, Volek was maybe going to be the starter. Then right before camp, they signed Kerry Collins to battle for the job. And that's when Volek basically demanded a trade. And I will never forget Jeff Fisher saying, when anybody demands anything like that, that didn't really sit well with me.
And then somebody caught him at the airport on the way out of town, and Volek was no holds barred, just let it go, what was going on. But, you needed a backup. And Kerry was good for that, for the 2006 season to help out. I mean, they started out 0-6. Then they, they won a few games, and
Vince takes over.
And
I think they got to the playoffs.
They did not. Remember, they went 8-8, and they went to the
next year.
They went to the final game in that season in 2006, and they needed like 7 things to happen.
Patriots.
Yep.
I was at that game. My dad and I went to that game.
They needed like 7 things to happen. The last one being beating the Patriots. All like the 4, 5, 6, 7 things happened, and they didn't beat the Patriots.
Yep. And like Brady and them weren't even playing.
Remember the quarterback for the Patriots that day?
2006?
Yep. He had just turned 70 that day.
Vinny Testaverde.
Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback that
right.
day. But then in 2007, the Titans team rolls to the playoffs. They lose to San Diego in the first round. And then, there was something there that was clicking. You had Hainsworth and Van Den Bosch and Tony Brown. They brought back Javon Curse. You had Bullock and Finnegan. And that was a good team. And the Ravens come in here, and Derek Mason on that team beat the Titans in the playoffs game. And that was they were done after that. And then never the same after that.
Yeah, and then, Vince had the thing with the shoulder pads.
2010?
Yep. And so, I mean, again, I bring up guys like Jamarcus Russell, Vince Young, give me some other bus. Doesn't have to
Ryan
be a quarterback.
Leaf.
Ryan Leaf. That they have, how do they use maybe their misfortunes or failures or however you want to put it to help the next generation? I feel like Vince has done that some.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Jamarcus is coaching now, so that's
Yeah.
big. I've had Ryan Leaf has come to our studio before, and I stood there and had a conversation with him. He doesn't hide anything, and I mean, he's
Good.
still got demons,
Yeah.
that he's dealing with.
I think it's if you ask for forgiveness, you usually get forgiveness in some way. And he just said, don't hide the fact that you were, he admits he didn't work hard enough and didn't really buy into what they were trying to sell. A lot of those guys were the same way. But, I mean, Leaf and Russell were two that at the top there were just – I mean, at least Vince had some success in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Ron Leaf came here in '98 when the Chargers beat the Oilers, which might have been that day at Vanderbilt Stadium, the hottest football game I've ever been to. I think the temperature hit 240 that day at Dudley Field. It was so hot, and that the Chargers won the game that day over the Oilers. But yeah, so if you could mentor these guys and help them out, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like with Tannehill, what if you tell a guy, if you're telling the backup quarterback, look, man, instead of reading the strong on safety of this play, read the free safety. I mean, that doesn't hurt.
Right.
It's just I don't know. A whole lot was made out this summer for that.
Well, here's my favorite thing with Jamarcus Russell, and I hope he uses this as a teaching tool. You remember when they gave him a bunch of blank tapes because they knew he wasn't watching film? Then they hid money in the playbook because they knew he wasn't
in the very back of the playbook. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't opening the playbook.
That's right.
There was like $500 in the playbook.
Right. Yeah.
And he wouldn't open it. And like, hey, hey, what'd you think about this play? And like, oh yeah, I think that's a good one. Like, what'd you see on the film? Yeah, just study some coverages and everything. And they're all blank.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's true. What did happen? The Raiders did that because they didn't think he was working hard enough.
Was that Kiffin?
God, that might have been Kiffin back then. Goodness. 7, yeah. Yeah, because I saw Jamarcus Russell with LSU beat Tennessee in Knoxville in 06. And then, I mean, he was gigantic, 6'6", 245 pounds. Drafted number 1 by the Raiders in 2007. Yeah. Yep. Due to his expectation being the first pick and the short length of his career, he's considered one of the NFL's biggest bust.
If not the biggest.
Big dude, man. Had all the intangibles, though. You know who his quarterback coach was at LSU? Jimbo Fisher.
Yep.
Just didn't get it done, man.
No. Well, this trip down memory lane brought to you by
Jeff Fisher. And, if you go back to Vince, there was remember he missed practice because he was taking Steve McNair's kids to school one day, and that became a big, he missed practice that morning because he went and did that. And they were playing the Steelers that weekend, and Steelers came in and I think beat the Titans, like 09 or 010, one of those weekends.
Right.
And there's this. Once he got in Fisher's doghouse, he wasn't really welcomed. Him and Fisher kind of butt heads a little bit through that time, and then once all that stuff happened, I remember the Jacksonville game in 08 when he went to the sidelines, and then
he got benched.
They couldn't find him after the game.
Yeah,
a couple
Collins
of days.
took over after that game. Well, I had this conversation with Floyd Reese one day, the late great Floyd Reese, because we all know that Fisher wanted Leinart. Floyd, I think, was kind of going either, any direction.
Cutler was part of that.
Cutler was certainly a part of it. And then Bud wanted Vince because Vince was the Texas guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's who Bud ultimately got Vince. But then the plan was Vince was going to come in. Steve was still here. They already had a relationship. Steve is the mentor for a couple of years, and then Vince eventually takes over. If that had actually happened, how different would have things looked?
That's a great point.
It's one of those things that we'll never know the answer to.
Well, plus they owed Steve $35, $40 million, something crazy.
Yeah, realistically, it wasn't going to be able to work because of the money.
And it was when they locked him out of the facility, and all that.
Floyd told that entire story on the air one day. It was, there were parts of it that I never heard.
What was it? They were just afraid he'd get injured in the weight room or something?
He went in. So Steve was coming off an injury and had come to work out and was doing some work out here on the field. He was working out in the weight room, and Floyd, I think Bud may have actually been here, and Floyd said, "Hey," or no, he called him. So he called him. He says, "Hey, your quarterback's here working out this morning," and Bud was like, "Well, get him out of there." And Floyd's like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "He's making too much money. I don't want him to get hurt." And because they knew that they were going to basically have to move on, and that was kind of it. And so they had to go and tell Steve he had to leave.
Wow.
And that was obviously a really tough situation. I think they ended up trading him, to Baltimore, and that's how that era ended. But yeah, that was something that Floyd hated that. He hated how that all ended.
But you look at the 2006 draft. The Texans, Vince's hometown, they passed on you.
Right.
And then number 2, the Saints take Reggie Bush. The Texans took Mario Williams out of NC State as the pass rusher.
Right.
And then so Vince falls into your lap at 3. I don't blame them for taking Vince.
No, I think because he fit well with Heimerdinger's offense, with what McNair had been doing. I guess at that point that could have been Norm Chow.
Norm Chow was here, yeah. But at the
then
same
they bring
time,
Dinger back.
They brought him back a few years later. But what got me, though, Chase, was that first day, evidently the night before, the Texans reached an agreement with Mario Williams. You're thinking, look, here's this guy in your backyard.
Yeah.
Who's just amazing. When it's a college football game in the last 2 years was unbelievable at Texas in 04 and 05. And I know they had David Carr at the point, was their quarterback, who ended up leaving, I think, the next year after that, or maybe even that year. But they didn't take him. I think that's interesting. Why are they not taking him? And then Bush goes, and then Vince Young comes here, and then the rest is history.
Yep. Absolutely. Coming up next, there's some news on Bud Dupree we will pass on, but Nashville's best deal of the week is Old School Pizza in Brentwood. Old School Pizza was voted number 3 best new restaurant in Nashville and offers pizza and other Italian specialties. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get a $30 gift card for only $15 to Old School Pizza while supplies last. News on Bud Dupree coming up next, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
2, 3, 4, look. High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Game Blitz, presented by Apple Collision Centers.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood. Give local. Save lives with Blood Assurance.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit 1 per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Hey, folks, it's getting closer. NFL Week 1, and we know this because the NFL Week 1 odds are out. So now's the time to try FanDuel Sportsbook. If you haven't already, get in on the action early this season. Joe Rexford here to let you know that right now, new FanDuel Sportsbook customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. And again, the NFL futures are all over the place. Lots of interesting ones. How about Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor to win the rushing title? I would go with Derrick Henry on that, waiting to see if Derrick Henry can stay healthy. Both of those backs should be well over 1,000 yards this year. Sign up using promo code Joe102. Place your first bet. FanDuel will give you up to $1,000 back in free bets if you don't win. There's no better place to get ready for football season than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Sign up using promo code Joe102. Get started with your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Again, promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager. Only refund issued is now a drawable strike credit expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
I love this show.
Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Big Joe Dubin here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park today. Titans training camp all done for the day. As they had practiced this morning, we didn't really get to see much of it because it was on the far field, but, that's all right. Mike Vrabel just had his birthday and can do whatever he wants. So.
He can. Coach of the Year is he can do whatever he wants and practice. They can practice for 4 hours or 1 hour. I think get in trouble if they practice any longer than that.
Yeah, that is true. As the grass gets cut here.
News right in front of us. Appreciate
that's
it.
That's all right. News on Bud Dupree, Titans linebacker. You may remember he had an incident at a Walgreens where he was accused of a fight. He has pled guilty to misdemeanor assault charges in Davidson County Court earlier today. He had received a 6-month suspended sentence, which means he will not serve any jail time if he's not arrested again. The judge agreed to work with him for his travel for the NFL. So this happening today that he pled guilty, and looks like that will be the end of that. This after a fight at a Nashville Walgreens in February. So looks like that's all taken care of before the season gets started, and to my knowledge, it looks like he won't receive any discipline from the league either.
Titans will be the sigh of relief on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cause
I don't know all the details over there, so I'm not going to get into it. I don't know, but there's what the pleaded guilty today, and that's what the sentence that was handed down.
So we were just kind of, playing some revisionist history in the what-if game.
Best game ever.
With Vince Young, and you came up with another one in what might have been with the Tennessee Titans, and I said, you know what, let's bring this to the people.
Okay, so remember 2012, the Peyton Manning hysteria, where's he going to go, ends up going to the Broncos. Just what if he would have come here in 2012? What if he would have signed here, and how long would he have been here? Would he have had the success? Would he have gone to 2 Super Bowls like he did at Denver? And then you play off of that, what happened if Brady would have come here in 2020? You're not going to tell me that Brady and Vrabel didn't talk? I mean, come on. I mean, the guys are best friends just about. And what would have happened? So what would have been greater for the franchise, Manning or for Brady, what he did? I mean, I'm not sure there's a right answer. They're fun answers, but I'm not sure. But, you look at when Manning would have come here in 2012, who was receiver? Nate Washington? Was that the main guy that he had on the team there?
Had they drafted
2012, they drafted Kendall Wright.
Yeah. So Kendall Wright, Kenny Britt was
probably would have been one more year. Yeah, because he came in 2009.
Yeah. So you'd have had like Nate Washington, Kendall Wright, Kenny Britt. Justin Hunter, I think, was still around.
He came the next year.
The next year?
Yeah, because he was still in Knoxville.
Yeah, so that era.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Or would you have taken the Brady of 2020 that would have come in here, rolled in here?
I mean, I think Brady would have definitely been on a better team than Peyton would have been.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean.
Plus, Brady would have had Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Which he never really had a really pounding running back in New England who was dominant. He had a lot of good running backs. Didn't have a great running back, though, when he was with the Patriots. It's a fun game to play because, Manning would have come in here and demanded a few things, or, maybe another receiver to do this or that, to see that. But I think he landed the perfect spot.
He would have had Munchak.
Would have had Munchak. Plus, just the mass hysteria of Peyton Manning playing here. Brady would have brought the kind of in the same ballpark with that, but I think Manning would have had that pressure. But, I mean, does he not have the pressure in Denver?
He had the pressure in Denver. I think Brady would have brought more hysteria because he's finally leaving New England. He's joining one of his best friends in Mike Vrabel. And here's the other part of it that people forget when they're having this conversation. You would have gotten Brady and you would have gotten Gronk. Because Gronk would have done the exact same thing here that he did in Tampa.
Even think about that. That's
now,
a great point.
When we had these conversations, I was saying, you know what? Go with Tannehill because there's more of a future. He's going to play longer. I'm probably going to be wrong about that because Brady's, going to just keep retiring and unretiring. He's at the Brett Favre stage of his career.
Right.
But, I looked at it as it's 1 year. Now, it's 1 year that could have led to a Super Bowl. It did. I mean, he won the Super Bowl in Tampa. So I think if you're picking between the two of, like, who would you have rather had, Manning in 12 or Brady in 20, I think you go Brady in 20.
Yeah,
it was a better team.
I think so as well, yeah. But had Manning come here in 12, just think about how it would change just the complete trajectory of the franchise. Because he had played 3 or 4 years. You draft a Mariota in 2015.
Yep.
At some point, you take a backup quarterback. But you look at Denver, man, since he's left. Finally, they had to go out and trade for Russell Wilson to get in here. And then with the success of the 2 Super Bowls, they lost one in Seattle, then they won one against the Panthers. Who knows what'll happen here? Probably not, because the 14 and 15 Titans teams here
just not good.
Were awful. And I told Carolina today, I mean, they had offensive linemen on that 2014 team that I swear to God were bagging groceries at Kroger's in Donaldson the week before. I kid you not. It's like, did I see you in the game on Sunday? That was just a bad football team, and
because Roos had retired, Stewart had retired.
Yeah, and let's go down this little path as well. That's why John Robinson, he's missed on Isaiah Wilson. He's missed on maybe Dylan Raines, a few other people. But the fact that he got some really good talent to come in here, free agent-wise, and change the complete culture of this football team and this franchise, heck, they should put a statue up of him outside Nissan Stadium.
Slick on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. I truly believe with Brady we would have won a ring. Manning would have gotten paralyzed behind our dog water offensive line.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but he's exactly right.
He's probably not wrong.
Oh, gosh, you're bad.
I also, obviously then I was just starting my career. I remember you sent me to the airport to track the plane.
Yep.
With Manning when he came in for the visit.
Everybody.
It was the first time that I had ever seen the gates at this facility locked.
Yep.
Because they wouldn't let anybody in. When Peyton Manning came to visit. But the more that I learned, because, talking to people that were in the know or knew things then, the more I feel like it never was going to happen.
No.
It wasn't even close. It was more of a courtesy visit than anything. Because Bud was still alive. Archie had obviously spent some time with the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had a lot of respect for Munchak. But Denver was in a much better place as a football team than the Titans were at the time.
Yeah, and also, off the field, it wasn't – hysteria. It would have been crazy for him, right?
Yeah.
Crazy for him, even now.
Oh, because people are like, what number is he going to wear? Is he going to be 18 or is he going to be 16 like he was at Tennessee? That was stuff.
And just anywhere he goes to be here. And so Denver is and he still lives in Denver.
Yeah, he does.
So he's a Denver citizen now. So he loves – I talked to him at that event, and he loves Denver, loves being out there. And interesting fact that I found out when I was talking to him is that the Manning cast is in his neighbor's garage.
Really?
Yep. He says, I take my daughter to volleyball practice, and I come back, and it's already set up, and I got 30 minutes. It's all set up in my neighbor's garage.
That's hilarious. It's not even in his house.
Just weird. And they'll be like that Manning cast here in a few weeks.
So what do you do if you're the neighbor, and he comes over and goes, hey, I need to use your garage?
I'm like, well, for what? Then you find out, because you look at me, who has a garage like that? That's like the best bonus room of all time.
Right.
That's set up there. Yeah, so.
That's kind of disappointing because I thought he had a badass basement.
That was his neighbor does, and it's all paid for by ESPN that they put in there. So, yeah, he says it's and Eli is at his home in New Jersey.
Yep.
And he goes, and technology is just amazing. And I said the toughest part, and I was talking to him, was like, you're talking to somebody, so you're talking to The Rock.
Yeah.
And then you got to go to break. And they're in their mid-sentence.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, you need to try to cut them off and all that
Rock's in
stuff.
there doing tequila shots.
Yeah. He said it's just you just kind of ebb and flow and go with it, know what's going to happen, and then Eli. Who dropped the cuss word? Was it Eli or Peyton?
Well,
one of them.
Eli did the double bird.
The double bird, and then Peyton said the cuss word.
Yeah, Peyton
I can't
cuss.
hear.
Yeah, Peyton cuss. Marshawn Lynch dropped one.
Yeah,
I think. It was a blank show. The whole thing was, and that's what made it so great.
Oh, fantastic!
And so they're kind of trying to do the same thing with A-Rod on ESPN, the K-Rod thing, and it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's right.
Now if you did one like with the NBA with like Chuck and Shaq and those guys, that could be funny.
Well, although Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart in the Olympics was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because they were on they could say whatever they wanted to, and that was pretty funny. That was really, really – and so you watch that. You look at the game in a whole different way of like, this is entertaining. You know what Steve Levy had to throw to the Manning cast ESPN2. It's like, oh, why do I have to read this liner? I don't want to read this. Because so many of us were going to watch the Manning cast, and it's back again.
Yeah, and if you're the regular Monday night team and you have to say, hey, check out the Manning cast, you just feel so defeated. I just told people to turn
leave.
Over.
Yep.
Anyway, coming up next, Nick Keyser back at our studio has 3 fantasy football questions he's going to throw at Big Joe and I. Hopefully he doesn't hit us when he throws those. We'll do that coming up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Bill was tired of saying no to his kids because of his debilitating pain.
I have 3 kids that are 13 and under. Every day they're asking, Dad, can we take a bike ride? Dad, can we play ping pong? Unfortunately, in the past, I had to sadly say no quite often.
An accident left Bill with aching knees and shoulders. Even after 4 knee surgeries, Bill still felt constant pain in his knees. And then he discovered QC Kinetics and their natural biologic therapies.
I did it on the knee. It really became life-changing. I've had the same results with the shoulder.
QC Kinetics non-invasive regenerative treatments help restore damaged tissue and provided much-needed relief for knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Right there in the office, no downtime. Bill's able to do just about anything these days.
Like taking my kids to Disney World and walking 10 miles a day at Disney, bike riding, taking a walk on the beach.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Oak Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN. Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered. There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming. Get the extra point, no problem. And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Big Joe Dubin out at St. Thomas Sports Park today. And it's now time for our 3 fantasy football questions of the day. And with Willy out, we turn to Nick Keyser, our fearless producer, who has come up with 3 fantasy football questions that we can ponder before our upcoming drafts.
Yeah, so glad to keep this going for Willie D while he's gone. But I got 3 big questions for you guys if y'all are ready for them. So,
we're ready to rock.
All right, so I know we've gone over some pretty good running backs so far, and 2 of these guys I don't think we've really talked about yet. So I'll go ahead and throw them at you. So I'm kind of thinking, one or the other on these guys, and I'll tell you what my pick is after I hear yours. But would you pick Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey?
Ooh, so 2 guys coming off injuries. Man, that's a tough one. I think Saquon would be the one for me though, because I think he's going to be in contention for comeback player of the year with the Giants. Obviously, the Titans will see him Week 1 here at Nissan Stadium. I don't trust Christian McCaffrey to stay healthy, though. So I'm going to go Saquon.
I'm with you on that one. There's a lot of uncertainty with that Panthers football team right now. I know Mayfield's going to start and all things going on, but I mean, they know what Saquon can do, and they want to see him run the football. So I'm taking Saquon absolutely 100% with that pick.
I think that's my pick too.
It seems easy.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Okay. Well, we made it easy.
That's right, Nick.
Well, there you go. There you
Doing
go.
great.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how they shake out this year. But my next lineup for you guys is at wide receiver. So I took a look at these two guys, and I thought, okay, hopefully we can see some better production. And one's on a new team and has a lot of drama with the Titans, which you know who I'm going to say here. But I'll throw a different guy at you before we talk about the other one because we know who he is. But Mike Williams with the Chargers or A.J. Brown with the Eagles.
Mike Williams all day, every day. I just think A.J.'s mouth's going to get him in trouble up there. When the ball's not to him or he's not involved, I just think,
It's not his mouth, it's his fingers because he can't say it publicly.
Right. Yeah,
he goes to Twitter.
Yeah, he'll still be mad at the Titans over something, and that's why I hope Treylon Burks has a monster year so A.J. will shut up. I'm going Mike Williams. Herbert's just a better quarterback, better offense.
Yeah.
Mike Williams all day, every day.
Yeah, I'm going that way too mainly because of the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts not being that type of quarterback. I think Justin Herbert is much better. And Justin Herbert, I mean, even though I have said I feel like that Joe Burrow is potential MVP candidate this year, I think Herbert has just as much of an argument for that as well. Because I think the Chargers are going to definitely take a bigger step forward this year.
Correct.
With their third-year quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, Hurts just hasn't seen anything.
Yeah, nice guy. I just don't think he's a franchise guy.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's what people say about me, so it's okay.
Nice. So it's like Zelensky and Tommy Boy. He's a nice guy.
Right.
Great movie.
Maybe he gets friend zone too. But so we're going to switch it up here and go to tight ends. And I took a look at these two guys, and I was kind of thinking, okay, well, the volume of what these guys can do is kind of, through the roof. But ultimately, depending on the matchups, they could, do some big things this year, I think. So I'm looking at T.J. Hawkinson with the Detroit Lions or Dawson Knox over there playing with a big QB this year and Josh Allen.
Academy.
That's a good one. Let me tell you what, Knox and Josh Allen are buddies. I mean, they are tight. Give me Dawson Knox. Seems to be he's always his go-to. Tight end's always the best friend of the quarterback for the most part. So I think Dawson Knox is going to have a good year. I think he's Allen's kind of fail-safe, his go-to, his safety valve, everything you want to run it by, any kind of adjective you want to use. I'll take Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I'm going Dawson Knox too. I mean, he's had a couple breakout years, and I think you're right. The fact that they're so on the same page. I can remember the Monday night game. I thought he had a touchdown here, and I think they called it back. Said he was out of bounds, from what I remember. But I mean, he just came on the scene out of Ole Miss. I'll tell you another tight end that if you're wanting fantasy tight ends. Freiermuth out of your Steelers. I mean, he had such a breakout year last year, Junie. I think that he's certainly somebody to look at too. But between those two, and I like Hawkinson, I will take Dawson Knox.
Yeah, all day, every day with Dawson Knox there. But, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out for everyone, and I like y'all's picks.
Thank you for your 3 fantasy football questions that took 5 minutes.
Can I just say that I chose
Good job,
the
man.
opposite player than on every single one of those
Why?
than y'all would. Well, I'll start with A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown, he's going to be the number 1 receiver, whereas Mike Williams isn't. I think Keenan Allen is still the number 1 receiver out in L.A. And then what was the second one again? What was the second one?
Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey.
I'm taking McCaffrey because I think McCaffrey is a better dual threat than Saquon, and I also see the Panthers upgrading their offensive line this offseason more than I saw from the New York Giants. And then when it comes to the tight end position, listen, I get it. Knox is playing up there in Buffalo with Josh Allen, but I've seen T.J. Hawkinson play a lot, and I think that he's going to be one of Jared Goff's primary options. I just think he's the better overall tight end, and I think he's going to get more looks than Knox, especially with the other pass catchers that they have up there in Buffalo. So I went against y'all on all three of those for me personally.
Somebody's a contrarian.
Yeah. Are we going to fight?
1,700, you've been shot for that.
Well,
it's not now.
Good thing it's not now.
Yeah. Detroit's just so bad.
They're so great on Hard Knocks.
No, I think Detroit's going to be a team that surprises a lot of people this year.
You know what?
And I get it. I get it. The Hard Knocks, that brings in a lot of hype, and I'm not really buying into that. I never really buy into the Hard Knocks stuff. I just see what they got. I mean, they went out and they got Jameson Williams. They got T.J. Hawkinson. They got Swift at running back. Their offensive line, Penei Sewell in there again. They're getting a little bit better. I don't know. I think that they're going to be a much better, more efficient team. And Dan Campbell, year 2, first-year coaches always struggle a little bit. I see them kind of taking a step up where the Bears have taken a step back. And I'm not really a believer in the Vikings taking the step that a lot of people are predicting them to take. I think the Lions could be a 7-8 win team this year. It wouldn't surprise me.
Jenny Riddle, hot take.
I'd like to see them win the Super Bowl. Just why not, right? For once, a team that's never even come close to win the Super Bowl. By the way, Dan Campbell, do you know where his first, if I can pull this up, his first win as a head coach was?
Well, it was I think it was with the Dolphins against the Titans.
My man, 2015, sure was.
Yep, he took over for them. It was in Miami, I believe.
That's right.
Yep. That was that era in which we were talking about. That it was 2015.
It was 2015.
It's been that long.
It's been that long.
Good Lord.
That's the game where I'm surprised Mariota was able to function after the game because he got what's the guy, the defensive end that went to the Giants, paid a lot of money for him. Defensive end, pass rusher.
Went to the Giants?
Yeah, they got him in free agency. Oh, he's with the Dolphins. He was in the backfield every time Mariota had the ball. And I forget the guy's name now. I'm sure somebody's screaming at the radio right now.
Well, text us, 615-737-1025.
Yes. Olivier.
Oh, Olivier Vernon?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my. I mean, he got his contract based off that game. I mean, he was in the backfield every single play.
Well, and what's interesting is Dan Campbell is I don't know his playing history, but, I mean, he definitely, comes across as a bit of a meathead, but
right.
but at the same time, I think in a way that he gets his locker room's attention, and they play. I mean, because you watched the Lions last year, they played for him.
They did. He played with the Giants from '99 to 2002. Went to the Super Bowl with them. Says he was Bill Parcells' first signing as a free agent in 2003. So Giants, Cowboys, Lions, and then finished with the Saints in 2009. So his coaching career, he very much mirrors Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Oh, big time. So, hey, you know what? You might be right because, I mean, that's the Packers' division to win. I'm not a believer in the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins sucks.
I'm with you, man.
I have never really understood the fascination with him. D-Mase would say because he went to Michigan State.
But listen, we talk about NFL teams. To me, it's like Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA. I mean, you just don't – the Vikings don't really drive any kind of talk or anything, do they? I mean, there's always like there.
Yeah.
I know that's really like a blanket, not smart statement, but it's not like we don't talk about them much. I mean, at least with this team, you got Derrick Henry. You've got with Tannehill coming off the playoff performance. There's talk. Heck, they won the AFC last year. But the Vikings, it's just like
they're just kind of there.
Yeah, constantly underachieving. And Cousins making all that money.
And they keep re-signing him.
He's got a heck of an agent. I need that agent.
I need that agent. That would come in handy.
Yeah,
for a lot of things.
It would.
For sure. 615-737-1025. That's our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, we'll get back into Malik Willis a little bit, some things from practice today, and then turn things over to Stillman & Company. That's all Coming up next, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center,
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist.
Thousands in as little as 2 weeks. And yes, VA loans are eligible. With a VA loan, you can access up to 100% of your home's value. So pay off high-rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut about $800 or more from their monthly budget. So if your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
I'm Cindy Mae Johnson from Mountaintop Media in Pikeville, Kentucky. You may have seen or heard about the flash flood disaster our people have suffered, but I promise you no news story can accurately convey how much help is needed. Lives have been lost, homes destroyed. If you're willing or able to help even a little, donate to the East Kentucky Dream Center on Venmo or at ekdc.raisegiving.com. That's ekdc.raisegiving.com. Thank you.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Stillman and Company coming up in about 15 minutes. Jared has thoughts on the Colts and their preseason debut, so be sure to tune in for that. Earlier today, we sat down with Titans rookie cornerback Roger McCreary out of the University of Auburn. He came over right after practice, talked about how things were going. Let's say hello to Titans rookie cornerback Roger McCreary, who has joined us at our broadcast table. Roger, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
So how you feeling 3 weeks into training camp? You got a preseason game that has come and gone. You got the Bucks coming to town for joint practices. How's this feeling as a rookie?
I would say everything is just great. Just having this experience and everything, just to play in the league now. And now this would be my first joint practice. So it's just like actually watching it growing up, watching it now. I'm actually playing it, and it gets the Bucks too. So I'll say it's just a great feeling, and I'm just excited about it.
What's been what's been the biggest change? A year ago, you're at Auburn going through workouts, and look, we played football. 2 days were rough. What's been the biggest change for you coming here with the Titans so far in camp?
I would say the biggest change is just like the mindset. I would say having a daily routine and everything, because college, your schedule everywhere, like you don't know what's going to happen. But now this is like your job now, so like this all you know, this all you have to do and everything. So it's just that, just having that daily routine and everything. And I feel like once you have that routine, you'll be great.
How much have you improved in 3 weeks, you think, or going back to rookie camp in May, but especially the last couple of weeks, how much have you improved, you think, as a player because of what you've been through?
I feel like I improved a lot. It's just like coming to rookie camp, that was a lot. Like I didn't know a lot. And, you know, as a rookie, you're going to make mistakes and everything. That was just my mindset. I know I make mistakes. I just got to learn and just try to improve and just be there for the teammates. And, you know, I have leaders like KB, Kevin Byer, and he'll help me out along the way. He'll be on me if I make bad plays or I got a question. He's the guy to go to. Just the guys on defense, just seeing how the defense is and the leadership on that side, you can tell, like, what's the standard for the defense. So I feel like just being around them guys, they help me improve every day.
Fantastic. Roger McCreary, Titans cornerback, is with us. Yeah, you talk about leaning on guys that you can learn from. Christian Fulton, and when you look at the corners, he's the elder statesman. This is year 3 for him. So what have you been able to learn out of a fellow SEC guy?
You know, he's just a young guy. You know, we're a young group, and just learning from him. You know, he probably still make mistakes and everything, but he experienced a lot just in the past 3 years and stuff. So I really asked him a lot of questions and everything. Like, we come together no matter what. If I make a good play, he on me. If I make a bad play, he still on me. But he still learning too. So we all just trying to get better as a group. But that's the person who I look up to, like, really the most in the cornerback session.
You know Mike Vrabel in his playing career, obviously made a lot of plays on defense. What's it been like kind of getting to know him now as your head coach and what he expects?
Oh, yeah. At first, I didn't know what to expect. I just know he was a cool and funny guy. Like, he could come with the same energy. But just, like, being around him a lot now, it's just he always wants you prepared, always know the little stuff. Like, every little thing we have to know, everything part of the defense we have to know. It's just that type of stuff that make you play faster. So just being around him, he have you on your toes every time, no matter what. You got to know what's the question. You got to know. You got to know. Because if you don't know, you're going to be looking bad out there. So I feel like it's great that he pushed the players like us to make us help learn the game and everything. So I feel like it's great being coached by him.
All right, Roger, we've been talking a lot about Hard Knocks and the rookies having to sing. Have you had to sing yet for the vets?
No, sir. I sung a song a little bit, but.
What'd you sing? Can you tell us?
I sung 2 songs. It was A Long Time Coming. By Sam Cooke and
yes.
And Gold Digger by Kanye West. I like to hit the high notes for them. You know, they be off guard. But yeah, I try to do a little something.
Do they enjoy it?
Yes, sir. They enjoy it a lot. You know, I try to make them laugh and stuff. I think I'd be singing for real, so I'd be feeling myself a little bit.
Look what town you're in the perfect town to be a singer, Roger. I mean, you got it made here now with all that. Hey, I want to go back. I love looking at that. You went to Williamson High School, right?
Yes, sir.
Jamarcus Russell?
Yes, sir.
T. Martin?
Yes, sir.
I mean, do you remember about Jamarcus? I know you're a little young guy there. You remember Jamarcus around?
Oh, yes, sir. I know a lot about him. Like, he coached at the school now, and I talk to him every time when I go back and everything. But my mom grew up playing with him and stuff, so we know a lot about Jamarcus Russell. Like, he like to star in the city.
Yeah.
Is he somebody that you've gotten advice from on the league or just football in general?
No, I wouldn't say I got advice from him. I'll just talk to him. He'll just be like, keep your head focused because, you know, he been through everything. But the person that I talk to the most about advice and that stuff is Antonio Coleman. He played for Williamson and Auburn, too. That's like my mentor. He played with Russell and everything, so that was great, like, getting advice from him.
What, I mean, so, sorry, I mean, growing up, so in Mobile, I mean, when you did 2 days in high school, I mean, you're used to all this, aren't you? I mean, this weather, how hot it is, doesn't bother you, does it?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. But I didn't know Nashville was like this, though. I didn't know. I thought it was a little cool, but I thought I'm leaving Bama now. We up north a little bit.
Right.
It's going to be a little cool. It's not. It's the same.
Oh, my goodness.
It's still the same.
Also, you might not know this. You could use this when you go back to your high school reunion, that you have a notable alumni. You're one of the notable alumni at your high school, but also the guy that invented the Super Soaker water gun.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Williamson alumni.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that. That's one thing, like, Williamson always talk about that. The guy who went to Williamson made the Super Soaker and all that.
Lonnie Johnson's his name.
Right.
Fantastic, man. That's awesome. Let me ask you this. You're going to miss a little – I know you're in the NFL now, but playing the SEC for the last couple of years, I mean, that becomes your blood and your life. You're going to keep one eye on see what's happening down at Auburn, I'm sure?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I'm going to always look back at my school, but I got to see what's our schedule looking like because I do want to go visit and everything, support the team and stuff. I just hope they do good because, you know, SEC, that's the hardest conference.
That's right.
Everything. So,
my man.
Yeah, I'm always support the team, though.
Good for you.
Do you are you and Derek going to come up with some sort of friendly wager for the Iron Bowl, you know, Bama
Derek,
guy and Auburn?
I mean, I talk to Derek a lot. You know, we talk, but he'll say a little slick stuff like Auburn. What Auburn? It just be stuff like that. So I know when the Iron Bowl comes, it's gonna be worse. Like he's gonna be on my neck. I'm gonna talk trash right back though. I'm gonna talk trash right back. Like even though we playing that Bama, we still gonna win. Like we don't care.
You and Traylon talked a lot of back and forth because Arkansas guy, Auburn guy, SEC West guy.
Oh yeah, Arkansas. They ain't up there with us. Arkansas ain't up there with us. But yeah, me and Trey, we talk a lot though, cause like during the game we play against each other, we were talking, we were cool and everything. So it's good that we teammates now. We just try to push each other, and that's what we always talk about.
Oh, that's great. Hey, we're going to get you a recording contract. We'll somehow, some way. You'll be the new Sam Cooke. Is that cool?
Oh, yeah, sir. I got you.
We'll do it for you.
I love it. Roger, best of luck the rest of the way. Thanks for coming by and talking to us. There you go. Roger McCreary, Titans rookie corner, joining us earlier today. And man, this is what I love about it. Doesn't matter what level you get to, because I remember one time I was in the locker room, and it was, I think, Chance Warmack and Jarrell Casey chirping at each other about Alabama and USC, because both had good teams. It's just your love for your school, no matter what level you get to, never goes away.
Sure.
And I love that. Like, even at this level, that you'll have guys that, like, they'll bet a dinner or something like that. That if it's Alabama, Auburn, or the rivalry games.
There was a little Michigan Ohio State with Lawan and Vrabel when he first got here. That was always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard. I mean, you try to trash talk Alabama with Derrick Henry. I mean, it's really tough because unless you go by what last year, Ben Jones.
Yep.
Can walk around the locker room and trash talk because Georgia won the national championship last year. But it's always good. And I tell you, I mean, Roger McCreary, it's so nice. Yes or no, sir? Shaking our hands. I mean, just outstanding young man. Outstanding young man. Hope he has good success. And they like him a lot.
He's going to play a lot of football for this team.
That's great.
I mean, I think he's going to have a lot of different roles. I loved that pick in the second round for them, but I like when we started training camp, Derek said one of his biggest concerns was the secondary and was the corners. Now I think it could be one of their biggest strengths because they're so deep at it.
They are.
And they're young, and so these guys are still learning. And I really like, the group that they have with, and really it's all about if Farley and Fulton can stay healthy, you get Molden back in there, who should have a step up in his second year. And then you add McCreary to the mix as well. I mean, McCreary is going to play a lot for them.
I saw that. Can we announce who the guest is on Wednesday? I think that's really good.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of corners, that is good. Speaking of corners that played a lot of solid years for the Tennessee Titans, at 11:30 on Wednesday, Jason McCourty is going to join us. Just announced his retirement. Now he's with the NFL Network.
Yeah, that's great.
So you probably remember the Jason McCourty shows and those days and smoke breaks and F-bombs and things that were being dropped. But
oh my goodness,
it'll be good to talk to him because I mean he was such one of those guys that played for some really, really bad teams.
Guy gave his all.
But gave his all
right.
And was such a leader for this locker room. And now, has a great career. Finally gets to play with his brother in New England, wins a Super Bowl, and called it a career.
Spent last year in Miami.
Yep.
I did not know that. It's weird, wild stuff.
Not a bad place to end your career.
And I've seen him on the NFL Network. I mean, it just always gave everything he had for this team. And then ended up having what I think is one of the most underrated plays in Super Bowl history. When Goff, I forget receiver it was, in the end zone in the Super Bowl, and he came like a 30-yard dead sprint, knocked the ball out of his hands.
Yep.
And that really changed the game around, and New England won the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl, nobody talks about that one enough.
Because it was kind of boring.
It was.
I mean, like, it really wasn't all that exciting.
The Rams scored 3 points, I think it was. Was it 17-3
but the Patriots
or
scored 13-3.
13-3.
Yeah, I mean, it was low scoring, so the under hit big time.
It's all that matters for
some of us. For some of us that may have had the over,
right?
You remember that.
But heck of a play ends up going to win the Super Bowl. So good for him.
But you're right. But it was Brady's 6th, and it's just kind of looked at as,
It was.
Well,
I guess what happens because in 14 when they beat the Seahawks in that dramatic fashion when Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball in the end zone, which was still a crazy last play by the Seahawks, and then what they did in 16 being down 28-3 and coming back, winning that Super Bowl, and then you win 13-3. It's like, okay. Even got more hype of winning number 7 for Tampa because that's a new team, new start, and all that went down that time. But that Super Bowl over the Rams was like, okay, moving on. It was just weird. And the next year, the Chiefs won. They beat the 49ers. But good play by McCourty to help this team win.
Yeah, you need to watch the Man in the Arena
series. You don't need to tell me what to do, but I'll do it on my own time.
Well, I'm going to tell you to be at the studio at 6 o'clock on Friday for the Apple Collision Center's game blitz. How about that?
I look forward to the 6 hours of high school football coverage. Love your phone calls. Call in. We have all the coaches on Friday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I did it for 3 years. You did it for 3 years. It's good to have it back. So thank you so much, my brother.
All right. Well, let's do this again tomorrow, shall we?
We shall.
We'll have a good time. Tim Hasselbeck going to join us at noon tomorrow as well. That'll do it for us, but stick around. Stillman and Company. Jared's got thoughts on the Colts. That is all coming up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.